Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Are you ready?
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
It's awesome!
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone?
What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Welcome to the fucking show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Magnificent. With me here today is a knockout type of DJ. He is a business owner. He's a family man. He owns Title Boxing in Shelby Township. He also owns SBS Media, is it?
SBS DJ Services.
Yeah. So, yeah, and we'll get into that and ask him a bunch of lovely questions because there's a lot of information. And if you are having a wedding or any type of event that needs a DJ, his company is the one to go to. And if you need a good workout in, I know for a fact, if you like boxing, getting out some aggression and all that stuff, especially if also learning how to box too, that also helps.
Absolutely.
He's the man to do it. So, first of all, welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Stoked.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
So
I think this is our 5th reschedule.
it happens more than once. But I'm very excited for you to be on the show. And you know, like I said, it's been a long time. And there goes my mic. All right, Matt, stop playing with the mic here. But it's been a long time coming, and, you know, one thing for sure, when I first started this podcast, I wanted you to get on and have you chat it up about it was before you started the Title Boxing.
Nice.
It was when you were still DJing. I think it was like in the beginning of when you were doing it. But first off, how did you get started doing DJing?
Yeah. So you met me through the Church Avenue, through events, concerts, Young Adult Ministry, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what started all of it. My wife is a photographer, so she got asked to do a wedding. That wedding turned into them asking me, well, Doug, you're in the music venue world. You do concerts, you tour, you do all this stuff. Do you know DJs? I said, I could probably find you one. How much is your budget? And they said $300. I go, no, those don't exist. And so I was like, I'll do it. Why not?
$300,
yeah.
Easy money.
Yeah, I have speakers, I have lights. John Pavis, which is the connection that you and I have, he had some DJ gear, so like he helped me out. And I did one wedding, and it kind of blew up. Like I didn't market it, I didn't make anything official. It just kind of took off. And from that one $300 wedding, that year I added like 2 more. The following year I had like 10 to 15 weddings, and the following year after that I was like pushing full time. And so, yeah, it was on accident, kind of.
Yeah.
But it grew. And then 2019, I felt a big calling to get out of my full-time job and focus more on my ministry, focus more on our charity that we run with our friends. And I was making the responsible choice, especially because my wife was pregnant, to quit the job that actually makes us money and go into something that was like a hobby. And so in 2019, in September, I went full-time, doubled all of my prices, completely rebranded. And instead of slowing down or kind of rebuilding, it doubled the business. Like it blew up. And then COVID hit, which was exciting because you couldn't meet.
Right.
But in the thick of COVID, we still did 17 weddings.
That's awesome.
Which is nuts. And then after that, man, it was like 17 during COVID. And then I personally average more than 40 weddings a year since. And it's just been nonstop.
So that's awesome.
It's been accidental, but man, when God puts something in your lap, you just run with it.
Exactly.
Very sweet.
Exactly. Now, so you've grown the business on the SBS, which is stands for Something Beautiful Studios, right?
Correct. Yep.
And so you now have employees, right?
Yeah.
Technically?
So me and my wife are obviously full time, but I have a DJ named Khalik. He is as full time as you get. He has other hobbies and other side jobs as well. But he is a freaking phenomenal DJ, and he'll probably do 25 to 30 weddings this year and next year. Like, he's pumping out weddings now.
I love it.
He booked 3 this week. I mean, he's just been crazy.
Wow.
And then I have a whole bunch of assistants. We have 2 other DJs that are on our roster, but they also run their own businesses. So one guy named Matt's local. He just picked up a wedding for us today. And then we have a DJ in Cleveland who will come up and do events for us from time to time. But we're not booking him on a regular basis.
Right, but when there's a free opening, he usually is the one
Absolutely.
to take it.
Yep.
I like it. And are you still doing weddings as well this year,
am.
next year?
This year, I'm packed. This year, I probably still have 30 more. Next year, I'm kind of out, though. I have 4, and that's it. And then I have 2 proms. So 4 weddings.
Oh, you
2
doing proms too?
I did prom last night. I did Dakota High School's prom.
That's awesome.
700 kids. Proms are weird, dude.
How so?
Proms are weddings backwards.
Okay.
So at a wedding, you start family friendly, and then you get kind of like hood rat at the end. At proms, you have to start as like heavy hip hop as possible.
Yeah.
And then they all leave. And then the kids who want like Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift are the ones at the end. So you go from like hard, like it has to be edited to like this could be played at church. And it's just it's a backwards wedding.
Yeah.
It's wild. But yeah, for proms, we actually set up 2 full DJ booths. So it's me and another DJ.
Here, let me fix your mic real quick.
Sorry, am I too far away?
Yeah,
There we
just
go.
a little bit, but you're good.
For proms, we set up 2 DJs, like dueling DJs, like dueling pianos, and we mix back and forth all night.
That's cool.
So it's fun, and it's a Monday, so it's like easy money.
Yeah.
We weren't gonna be working on a Monday anyways.
Right,
So
exactly.
proms are cool. So yeah, next year I got 4 weddings, and they're all connections. They're all friends, family, whatever, and then 2 proms, and that's it for me. Everything else is going to my other guys,
Okay.
as I'm moving into opening up the second title and building up the gym.
Okay, so where's that second title going to be located? Because you're located on 25 miles?
25 in Shelby.
Yeah.
We are hoping, we're very, very close to confirming, but it'll be out in Lake Orion on Baldwin Road.
That's right,
That's
yeah.
the goal right now. So hopefully by the time this is released, I mean, that's how close we are. By the time this podcast is released, that this will be official. So
Cool.
we're right at the finish line of making all the documents go through and not just sitting in my inbox. So
Absolutely.
we're very, very close.
That's awesome. A little bit more about the DJing. So when it comes to like DJing, like how does that work? Because like, I mean, I can do this no problem.
Sure.
But and I make different playlists for friends parties and stuff like that, and I kind of just whatever music just kind of puts in a shuffle, or I flip flop from like country into like pop or hip hop or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like, how does that work? Like when
Man.
it comes to DJing?
DJing is more of an art than people think, and it's actually less about the music and it's more about the people. Like you're reading people constantly. It is a psychological game from the minute someone steps in the room until the last song. I am watching every single person. We joke that we're like keeping tallies on the age groups and the amount of like different colored hair, whether there's purple hair in the room or whatever. Like we start to really pay attention to the dynamics of the crowd, mentally start to build our playlists. Because what makes us different than a lot of DJs, we don't walk in with a playlist. We walk in with what are called crates, which are basically just genre breakdowns, different mixes. And from there, we go where the room goes. We know how to manipulate the energy in the room to, if we wanted to get super hype, we can do that or whatnot. But a song that works at every single wedding might not work at a specific wedding, and you don't just keep playing it. So we've built out kind of an organized way of finding our songs, so we're not just scrolling like, crap, what am I going to play next? But yeah, it is a psychological game. You are watching every person that walks in that room, and then during cocktail hour, you start testing things, like more chill versions of what you want to bang out later, just to see if like heads are moving. So if you're playing a song and like everybody in the room's kind of bobbing, then you're like, all right, I know what I'm going to be playing later. So yeah, that's where we're different. I've seen DJ companies that send out like 2,000 song playlists, and they're like, yeah, just click yes or no on what songs you want played.
Right.
And I'm like, God, that's a lot of homework. And what if the bride and groom don't have exactly what the 250 people know or want? So you get to the room and you're like, well, this is what I'm allowed to play. Well, the room might go a completely different direction. So we almost come unprepared in a good way, right?
Yeah.
You come ready for what the room is going to do, not for what you want as a DJ. Because what I would want is totally different than what the room really wants. So the perfect science is take what the bride and groom want energy-wise, vibe-wise, what kind of music they like, take where the room is going, and mix that together.
Okay.
And it's a science.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Man. Now, have you had an engaged couple come to you and be like, we just want country and like some pop?
Yes and no. I had one couple that was like, here's our playlist. This is what we want. And I said no. I was like, I'm not your DJ. And they're like, well, what do you mean? We took all the work out for you. You just play what we want. I said, if your wedding flops because your music doesn't match the room, I'm the only one that looks bad, and your wedding is going to be terrible.
Right.
I'm not that guy. So for me, what I do is I have 3 little blocks on a piece of paper, and it says must-haves, and it's at a 90%. There's a 90% chance I'm going to play these songs.
Like meaning genres?
Genres. It can be artists, genres, or a very specific song.
Right, for like specific dances and stuff.
Correct. Then the next one is do not plays. 100%. If you tell me not to play it, it doesn't matter if your mother is begging me to play it, I'm not going to play it. Which is, I have stories. And then the last one is special requests. These are songs that make sense to absolutely nobody but you and your cousins or you and your boys from college. Like whatever that looks like, there's always a story behind a special request.
Yeah.
But in that first box, I'm going to learn if you're more of like the Bruno Mars, Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake kind, or if you're like the Pitbull, Flo Rida, Fergie kind, like where really you want your anchor genre or feel to be. But then I'm also very honest. The beautiful part of where we're at in our business is where we're turning down so much business. I'm very comfortable telling people how it is. So, and respectfully to hopefully not ruin their wedding.
Right.
Where it's, like you said, country. Yeah, we want a real country wedding. And I'm like, okay, country doesn't play at weddings long. It's just the reality of country music. There's not enough dance country music to keep a dance floor going for 250 people that didn't walk in expecting it to be Coyote Joe's.
Right.
So I always tell them 3 to 5 songs of country in a row. After that, it's only worked at 3 weddings, maybe ever, where after 3 to 5 country songs, people still wanted more country.
I was going to say, because like you were saying, like how country isn't always dance. I mean, Morgan Wallen, easy. The Morgan Wallen Post Malone song that they came out, easy.
Right.
Everybody loves that song right now. It's hot. And, Boot Scootin' Boogie, easy. But then you get into like some Kenny Chesney. That's country is mainly for people that are sitting by a bonfire, cookout, or just kind of just wanting to drink beer or drink whatever and just have a good time, and that's what you play on in the background. But for a wedding, dancing wise, no.
And it's fun being able to educate people on that too, right? You said another name, Post Malone. Posty's great.
Yeah,
he's amazing to drive in your car too.
Yeah.
But not a lot of his music translate to a dance floor.
Right.
So when people are like, oh, play a ton of Post Malone, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. Where other DJs would just be like, okay, cool. And then just Well, I want to make my bride and groom happy. The end of the day, they're not hiring me to play their songs. They are hiring me to fill a dance floor and bring an electric party.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, 99% of brides and grooms are like, these are the songs I want you to play. But if they don't work, the number one thing I want is that dance floor full and people to go, that was the greatest wedding I've ever been to.
Absolutely, because they got other stuff to worry about too during the
100%.
reception.
Right,
So-
100%. They hire us to bring a party regardless of what's played. Everything's edited, so you don't have to tell your grandmother, sorry, the F-bombs just went flying. But other than that, it is number one objective, fill the dance floor all night. Start where all the parents and grandparents can dance. By the end of the night, we want to feel like it's prom again. We want to feel like there is not 1 second of the night where we should be off the dance floor. That's what we do.
Pretty much once you see people start taking clothes off, you know you did it right.
Yeah, that's typically only men, and during Pony, that's when the guys all of a sudden become Magic Mike.
Oh, well, see, I was thinking when it gets so electric and everybody's on the dance for so long that they start becoming really sweaty. That's what I was feeling. But yeah, that works out too.
We did a wedding just a couple weeks ago, and it was so hot in that room. I don't play Hot and Her by Nelly very often, but I literally went like, y'all, this could be the theme song tonight. And I hit it, and it was perfect. Because it's slower, and yeah, you can speed it up, but it's like cool for like 10 seconds.
But of course, everybody knows that song.
But that night, they were like, yes, this is exactly what we need. So we went hard with some Nelly. But yeah, all in all, number one goal is fill a dance floor.
Yeah.
That's my job. And if I'm not doing that, one of two things are happening. Either one, I'm getting in the way. I'm the one going, I want this song played. I think this is going to work better. Yeah, the room looks one way, but I want to go the other way. I don't let myself get in the way very often. Typically, two, what's happening is you can't win. There are just some weddings you won't win. I've talked to the best DJs in the state. A friend of mine charges literally 3.5 times what I charge. And I'm not cheap. 3.5 times what I charge. One of the most electric DJs I've ever seen. Crazy shows, pyrotechnics, everything. He's like, yeah, I fail weddings all the time. Some groups just don't dance. You can't make a group happy. Every once in a while, you're going to throw a clunker no matter how good you are. But outside of the clunkers, you just have to read the room.
Yeah.
If the crowd's going one way and you're like, but after this song, I always play this, and then I always play this, and they don't want it, well, you're either A, getting in your own way and just going to play what you want, and the crowd's going to hate it, or B, you adjust and keep the dance floor full.
Right.
The best part about it is when you keep a dance floor full, it saves you a ton of money on marketing because everyone wants to book you at their wedding.
And word of mouth is powerful.
That's how we built our business. Yeah. We didn't start spending money on marketing until a year ago, and that was because I was bringing more DJs on.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the reputation yet. So, yeah, man, it's a weird science, but it's so much less about the music and so much more about the people. Follow where the people are going.
Yeah. I mean, one thing with me is like if I have a group of friends that are getting married, I'm like, you got a DJ yet?
Right.
And then usually they'll be like, yeah. I'm like, darn it. Because I really want to spread your company and make your company money, but also knowing by looking at like your social media and everything on SBS, and it looks like you do an amazing job.
Thank you.
And one thing for me, whenever I get married, whenever that may be, I would for sure have you as my DJ.
Absolutely.
Like,
I'll come out of retirement.
That's a given, But again, I try and spread the word and everything, whether it be DJ or band or whatever.
Sure. And
that way, the popularity and the word of mouth can continue, and so
well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So with what was it? So when they come to you with a certain request, so you were saying how you had stories. Are there any stories that you can share on here?
Sure. I think my favorite wedding story ever was a wedding we did. Bride and groom were really cool. Loved them. Groom was not a drinker. but at his wedding he was.
Yeah, that usually happens.
And we're probably about 9:30. The wedding was going to end at 10:30.
Okay.
It was a little earlier wedding. Groom was tanked. Like zombie tanked, where he's just kind of like walking around, doesn't know which way is up.
Eyes are closed.
And they're
everything.
like, there's like babysitters assigned to him at this point. And then the babysitters left him sitting in a chair. Well, he got up and he stood on the head table, which was this massive, like a wooden table, like 4 times bigger than this.
Okay.
Where the legs were kind of centered in the table.
Oh, no.
So he stood on the edge and that sucker went upside down. He slams his ribs on the side of the table, immediately gets carried out, broken ribs, straight to a hospital. Wedding's over. And the bride comes up and she's like, who is he to end my wedding? Like, who is he to ruin my night? And I was like, as of about 6 hours ago, he was a very important part of this wedding. So she's like, well, I'm not done. And I'm like, all right. So literally, like, I played a Cardi B song, and it was just her on the dance floor, just like vibing out. Then she got on a party bus with a whole bunch of people and went out to a bar. Like, didn't go to the hospital until like hours later. So I follow up with him the next day, and he's texting me going, yeah, man, she's telling me what happened right now. I don't remember any of that. I'm just really sore. Wow.
Sore and hungover. That's the magic right there.
And he's like, yeah, I have a tea time in an hour. I'm still going. I'm like,
no
what?
way.
What?
No way.
What? This is crazy.
That almost reminds me of 50 First Dates when he gets
Yes.
the stitches from the shark
Yep.
bite, and he goes, oh, it must have been my huge backswing.
Yep,
You
exactly.
know?
I was just shocked by it.
Oh my
You
god.
know, we get a lot of stories like that, especially like how I said the moms and the requests. and
Yeah,
all
I was
that.
gonna say you said you got
I
stories
get,
on that one.
I get specifically it's the mother of the bride once in a while, but it's the aunt. It's always
That
an
wild,
aunt.
crazy aunt. Yes.
Every wedding.
Love those ants.
She will come up to the booth and request like the worst song at like 10:45 at night. Almost all my weddings end between 11 and 12.
Okay.
So 10:45 is like, we are no longer in Frank Sinatra era. We are in Ying Yang Twins. Like we've moved on. And it's always the aunt who comes up and she's like, do you know who I am? And I'm like, no. My brother paid for this wedding. I'm like, I
Okay.
still don't care. I had an aunt pull me onto the dance floor by my arm, like pull me onto the dance floor to the bride. And she's like, the DJ won't play the Beach Boys for Grandpa. And I'm like, I mean, we are playing hood rap music at this point.
All right.
And the bride's like, well, what song do you want? And she's like, I don't know, just Beach Boys. And the bride looks at me and she goes, don't do it. So I said, I'm going to let you guys figure this out. I'm going to go back to my booth. And this woman in front of everybody starts cussing me out, flipping me off. You will never DJ in our family again. Mind you, I have done like every person of this family's wedding. This is like my 5th one. Like the family comes up and gives me hugs. So I'm like
Yes.
a part of the family now.
Yes.
And come to find out, this aunt like went nuts the whole day, threw the bride's phone into the woods. They couldn't find it for 2 days. Like some crazy crap.
So there was
dude.
no Bridezilla. There was Antzilla.
Antzilla. Dude. Like,
That's awesome.
and it's always the aunt. I've had another one where it was the same situation where she looked at me and she goes, there's no way you run a business like this. You will fail. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm probably one of 10 DJs in the state that are full time. Mm-hmm. Well, you're not going to make it very long. I'm like, okay. I'm in the dance floor is full. And I'm getting berated about being a bad businessman. I'm like, why are you standing here? Go away. That's my favorite. I will say that happens more often than not. That's where the mom or the aunt comes up and she's like, no one's dancing. And the dance floor's packed. What she's referring to is like 4 people at that table over there that only want Bon Jovi. They're not dancing.
And you can rock Bon Jovi. You can play "Living on a Prayer"
right
easily, and everybody will get out of their seat and
Right.
know it, sing along to it.
at the right time.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the balance.
Yeah.
But no, it's the drunk entitled people.
Love those. When I say love those, I'm being very sarcastic.
It is the bane of our existence. And then prom is opposite wedding. Like I said, at a wedding, young people just dance. They don't care. They don't care what's on. They just want to dance. At prom,
Yeah.
they hold up their phone with a request from the crowd.
Yep.
And so yesterday, hopefully you can see this on the recording. Yesterday I did this.
Oh.
They lifted up their phone and they're like, play WAP. I'm not playing WAP. So I just went like this.
That's hilarious.
Which they loved.
That
And
was,
they were
no, that's
cracking
creative.
up.
That's creative. That's funny. I love it.
And they went from like being the annoying teenager to be like, all right, he's all right.
Yeah.
Like we knew he was gonna say no.
Now,
but
did
that's
you
funny.
do like a?
I just went like this.
That's
And
great.
they're cracking up.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Yeah, what's so funny is I remember, what was it? Yeah, I think it was my prom or somebody else's prom, or it could have been homecoming, to be honest with you. I had a couple of songs that could have been cool, and I was like, oh, like, and the guy had like a piece of paper, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you had that at your prom.
Not
or
anymore.
homecoming.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah,
No, I
where it
don't-
was just a
I don't
piece
do
of
that
paper.
now.
Yeah, just a piece of paper, and people would actually have to go up and request a song or write it down because you probably know as best as anybody. Somebody coming up to you and saying, "Hey, can you do this?" You're viewing this way, and you're not focused on the other person.
Right.
So, usually when I would go up and tell the DJ, the guy would be like. And I looked down at the paper. I'm like, oh, and of course there's a list like yay big,
Right.
And you just try and fit in somewhere.
Problem with the paper, and a friend of mine does this, where he has like a QR code and they can text in their requests.
Ooh,
Which is smart
That
from
is smart.
that standpoint, because then
Yeah.
they don't bother him. But then they're entitled to like, I made this request because you didn't have a chance to rebuttal it, or like, all right, I'll try to fit it in, or no, I'm sorry, I can't play that.
I'll put it in the queue.
Right. So they're sitting there like, I made a request 37 seconds ago. Why hasn't this been played yet?
Right.
So we got rid of the list a long time ago because of the entitlement. But his stories are hilarious because he'll have people sitting, texting him pictures of like, why isn't my playlist or why hasn't my song been played yet? Look, these 7 people all want my song, and they're like, in a picture. I'm like, I would be so annoyed. Like, I think I would actually bring a Nerf gun and I would just start like popping tables. Like, shut up, stop, don't text me. Sit in your chair or dance. Those are your options.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I just we say we take suggestions.
Yeah.
So that way it's not like it's not your request. It's your suggestion. If
Yeah.
I play it, if I do. If I don't, I don't.
Okay. So you were saying how like if somebody comes to you with a playlist. So I make playlists as a hobby besides doing this. And I don't know what it was, but like one day I just instead of just doing wedding tunes, I put them into different categories. So like ceremony, after I do, reception, cocktail
you
hour,
broke
stuff
it
like
down.
that. I broke it down. Like I even have like certain dance songs. So like mom and daughter / mother son like dances and stuff like that. Of course, majority of the time, everybody knows what they're gonna dance with their parents to. And
You would think so.
for the most part,
Right.
from what I have talked to a bunch of people about, is like, oh yeah, it's going to be this one. Like you were saying about how there's a specific meaning to it. So my buddy Rob, he got married last year, I believe, and him and his mom danced their mother son dance to Journey's "Don't Stop Believin'."
Sure.
Reason why is because as a kid, his mom loves Journey, like even to this day, and like they danced to that song. It was so cute because like after finding out the backstory of like they would play that song over and over and over, like growing up and everything,
Right.
to where it was like that was their song,
Right.
So that's absolutely something special instead of something like sappy, like I don't know, give me a
Butterfly kisses.
Butterfly Kisses. I don't know if that's a mother-son
more of
one.
a father-daughter one.
But you know, like I don't know, like I'm sure you play "Mom" by Garth Brooks a lot.
Mom, the more there's almost every mother-son dance is "My Wish" by Rascal Flatts.
Yeah.
That song is the bane of my existence.
Or "I Hope You Dance."
Yep, get that one a lot with the father-daughter. Or no, that one's more of a mother-son. Father-daughter, we get "My Little Girl" by Tim McGraw.
Yep.
There's so many of them, but like the consistent. If I go 2 weddings without "My Wish," it's a great back-to-back.
Yeah.
Because it's almost on every freaking wedding.
Yeah. Like I've you know come down to it to where I'm like, all right, I have 2 moms, so for mine.
Sure.
My mom's going to go first, and it's A, B, or C, and she'll either have to agree with or either want to play that song. Granted, I think I know which one I'm going to dance with my mom to. It's going to be "Mom" by Garth Brooks. Reason why is because we were at church, and they played it, and I leaned over to my cousin because there was like a whole group of us, and I couldn't see her. And I lean over, I go, "Is my mom crying?" He goes, "Oh, yeah." I go, that might be the winner.
Yeah.
That might be the winner because
Absolutely.
that one, you know, being her firstborn, like, yep, it's gonna mean a whole lot to her. But I know for a fact, like, I'm thinking about what everybody else is because everybody watches those dances.
Oh, yeah.
So I know for a fact that everybody's not gonna have a dry eye in there.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then I had this
Absolutely.
idea of either putting a projector or something like that of different, like a slideshow or something like that of like different photos of my mom and I.
Absolutely. That'd be cool.
Over the years, like from
Yeah.
you know being a baby and you know
Sure.
until now, kind of thing. So and then with that, I'm like, oh, I know for a fact. I'm not even. I'm like, I'm not even worried about the dance. I'm like, I'm worried about like you know the reaction of everybody
will be
in there.
sobbing.
Yeah, to where that will be absolutely memorable.
Absolutely.
And then with my stepmom, like, there's a song for, like, I don't know, like, have you done, like, step-parent dances?
From time to time, not as often.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually more stepdad for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've done a ton of stepmom. I mean, I've probably done over 250 weddings. Yeah, not a ton of stepmoms. Probably 1 or 2. Maybe I didn't even know about it. They just said mom.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Because there are different categories of, like, you know, how close the stepmom is.
For sure.
Is it, like, just like mom, or is it, like, stepmom, or whatever? But, yeah, I've noticed that it's mainly stepdad ones because as doing research, there's a lot of, like, stepdad ones.
Right.
But not enough stepmom ones. I'm like, what's the deal here?
Yeah, I feel like the stepdad is typically that dad who stepped, no pun intended, stepped into that role that the daughter needed. Mm-hmm. They needed a father figure. Mm-hmm. That's what I've seen the most of. I've seen it where the bride felt forced to dance with her real dad, so she did like verse, chorus, and then it was done, and then danced like a whole song with her stepdad.
Yeah.
And you could tell like real dad was a POS, and it was just like, okay,
you're just doing it out of respect.
Yeah, I understand why you're dancing with your stepdad. Like, that's the man that raised you, kind of
Absolutely.
thing. You don't see it as much with the moms. I mean, culturally, there's not near as many situations where another mom had to step in.
Right.
It's more so like a shared responsibility.
Correct.
So that's probably why I've seen it a little bit more. But I mean, we're talking less than 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you look at the, the duration of like divorces
right
in families and everything, it's mainly, you know, when in certain circumstances, like mom is still around, mom is still a strong figure, and then stepmom is usually like the plus mom. Or as I like to say for my stepmom, we call her, or our little inside joke is fake mom.
Ouch.
Well, it's not an ouch. It's more of a joke. So I worked for her brother at the radio station. Every time I would come in and we would pass by, he goes, "Oh, how's fake mom?" I'm like, "Fake mom? Like, who's fake mom?" He goes, "My sister." And I was like, "Oh, she's fine." And then it came to where she thought it was funny, and now in her context, it's fake mom.
That's hilarious.
In case of emergency. And so anytime she calls or whatever, somebody will see on my phone and be like, "Fake mom." I'm like, "It's my stepmom." They're like, "That's kind of harsh." I'm like, "It's not what you think. It's a joke that with all of us." And
Fake mom sounds like the girl that's in your friend group that like just mothers everyone in the friend group. Like that's what fake mom sounds like.
Yeah.
Your fake mom is actually like legally your mom.
Yeah. Isn't that hilarious though?
Not blood, but she's actually your mom.
yeah, exactly. So it's just funny to see people's reactions on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the whole playlist and everything, like I know for a fact, I'll be like, what is it? Like for the cocktail hour, like I always thought of like big band,
Sure.
like, you know, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, all that stuff. And then there's like other songs in there, but it's mainly, you know, it's, you think about it, cocktail hour, everybody's, you know, chit-chatting with everybody, trying to, you know, grab drinks and whatnot. And then when dinner happens, it's very just talking.
Right.
So, I mean, figure, you know, and everybody's dressed to the nines.
Right.
Most likely. And, you know, you want to feel classy like back in the 60s, you know,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so you want to have that little vibe
sure.
to it. So I thought that would be kind of a cool idea. And then what was the other ones? Oh, I saw this. I don't know if it was on TikTok or Instagram or something like that, but there was a game that the bride and groom played. So as you know, as being a married man, you can't take pictures with everybody. You can try, but it really doesn't work. So
I know where you're going with this.
So there's this game where I think it's called Beat the Clock.
Yep.
And you have each table figure out if they want to do smiling or goofy, and the bride and groom have to rush to each table and they have to tell them, you know, what it is
Right.
and everything. And usually, and I have like a bunch of songs like that. Like, what is it? 4 Minutes by Madonna is perfect for it. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then there's like a whole other bunch of them that I kind of came up with.
Those are fun. We've done a few of those, and we tell them get super creative.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they get there, be ready to go.
Absolutely.
And then I always have them end with the bridal party.
Oh, I
And
like
so the
that.
bridal party has like a whole 3-4 minutes to like come up with something.
I like
and so it's usually
That's
the
a good
best one.
idea. That's a good idea. And then what was another one? Oh, the Soul Train line.
Yeah, we don't do many Soul Train lines anymore.
Yeah, I figured that would be a great idea to do.
Sometimes they magically happen on their own.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like not many people know how to do the Soul Train line.
Right.
Usually it's just everybody goes in a circle.
Right. And then someone goes in the middle of the circle.
Correct. And
Yeah, the line, it happened in January, but outside of that, yeah, it's not like it used to be where that was a staple.
right.
And now it's kind of faded away.
Right.
A lot of wedding staples have faded away.
Yeah.
A lot of wedding staples.
Like what was it? And well, there was another one where I was thinking of the Detroit Hustle with Stevie Wonder's
Yep.
My Eyes.
Oh yeah, we play that all the
Yeah,
time. Absolutely.
love that.
People
When I
love
heard that song, I was at this bar one time, and I saw these different people doing Boo Boot Scoot and Boogie Dance. I'm like, oh, I know this dance. I'm like,
Right.
And then I did more research, and I'm like, oh, it's called the Detroit Hustle.
Right.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
The fact that Detroit has its own hustle, that's so cool.
Right.
And the fact that it's, I don't know, Stevie Wonder song, that's like awesome. Yeah.
absolutely.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we play that at most weddings. That's kind of the every white mom on the planet gets to jump in and like have their moment.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But no, we play that specific song probably 80+% of the weddings.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. But you were saying like the different traditions, or what was your word on it?
Yeah, so I mean,
Staples, was that?
bouquet and garter toss are almost gone. I mean, maybe if I'm doing 40 a year, maybe 5 weddings have it.
I was gonna say because like I've asked so many people, like there's usually a bridal or a bouquet toss, but there's no garter.
Right. Oh yeah, garter's done. Like,
Yeah.
I've maybe 5 in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Like gone.
That's nuts.
Cake cutting is almost gone.
Oh yeah, because it's so expensive.
Yeah, and they don't want the photo shoot. They don't want people around, so everyone's getting these tiny little cakes now, and just to appease grandma who still like has to see it. So cake cutting's almost gone.
I was gonna say now they're doing like cake balls and turning it into
donut walls and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Cupcake tables.
Yeah.
There's just a million ways to not do the cake cutting. The new one is not introducing the bridal party for the reception.
Are you kidding me?
Just introducing the whole bridal party, as in like make some noise for the bridal party, and they'll all come out. Or
I'm like twitching right
not
now.
introducing them at all.
I'm twitching right now. That's not what I was thinking, because I have a whole playlist for the bridal party entrances.
Yeah.
Where it would be like WWE kind of like entrances. Exactly. And I thought of it to where it would be really, really cool, because I saw either on YouTube or something like that, to where each like bridal party came out to a different song, and they came up with different props or different characters or whatnot. Like if you played Danger Zone, they come out wearing aviators.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you can literally get on Amazon for dirt cheap. And I'm like, easy. And then you guys act as jets,
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
We had a fun one like that. Guy came out, and it was there was like a winning system. Like the crowd would vote on whose was the best.
Oh, I like
which
that.
was great. One guy came out, rips his shirt off, and he was a hairy dude, and he had shaved into his chest the bride and groom's name.
That's awesome.
And then, like, the next one, they came out to the John Cena theme song and had, like, a breakaway glass bottle prop.
Oh.
And she freaking clocked the guy. And it popped like it was real. And the whole room for, like, 2 seconds was like... and then we realized it was fake. But, like, the pop was perfect. Like, a wrestling pop where everybody's like, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, because even when you have even people that don't watch wrestling anymore, they know who John Cena is. They know who DX is, or Stone Cold, or and knowing those guys that like beer and that want to kind of party. You can put Stone Cold on there and then easily have him not even like to where you make a mess, but more like just slam a beer.
Oh, I've had a few of those. For sure.
And
venues do not like that, though.
No, which is why I said, like, so you don't make a mess, you just slam it, and somebody who's, like, really good at chugging can just, you know. But, I mean, I went through a whole bunch of them, and I'm like you, and, of course, with the kids, you can put, You Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story,
for sure.
Under the Sea, whatever, right? Or even The Lion King or something like that. And it just all around, I think it will just get the party started. Like the ceremony was beautiful. You had their tears and blah blah blah. Got your first view of the bride, and then reception happens. It's time to party. Who better to start the party than the bridal party and the bride and groom? Exactly.
Right. Absolutely.
Exactly. You put your foot on the throttle.
Right.
And it's time to have a good time.
Yeah, this weekend, no bridal party entrance.
That's nuts.
Just the bride and groom.
And one thing that I understand it happens because like the bride and groom have so much stuff to worry about, but when the bridal party comes out and it's the same song,
right?
Like they of course they can come out and do different like what was it? Like I remember when I stood up in my friend's wedding, we all got flasks with our names on it, and it said groomsmen and stuff. And so we did some pre-gaming, and we had a good time.
You were a little comfortable.
We were very comfortable. What was very funny about that, and I was just telling the girl that I walked down with this past weekend, and we were laughing about it, is we were making toast just for the hell of it, and we were like, here's to a successful wedding, here's to possible children, here's to us having a good time, stupid stuff like that. And we get to the venue of or the chapel, and all of a sudden all of us start feeling it.
Oh no.
And we're just like,
Oh no.
gotcha. So I help old grandma down the aisle and get her seated and everything. And then once it's time to where it's like our time to shine of like walking down the aisle, I grabbed my friend Angel, who I walked down with, and she goes, "You ready?" I go, "You're gonna have to walk me." She goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah, I had too many Jim Beam Red Stag flask sips in the party bus and pre-gaming." She goes, okay. And I'm like, so I'm thinking as I'm walking down, right, left, right.
Yeah.
And then once I get up there,
Focus.
Yep. And then once I get up there, I'm standing straight, and then this thought came to my head, and I was like, don't lock your knees.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm unlocking one knee, then unlocking another. So I'm literally doing the pee-pee dance up there.
Yeah. Oh, I see it all the time.
Trying to not lock my knees. And we go, and then, of course, walk back, sobered up, because it was like we were up there for about 30 minutes. And that helped. And then we get back on the party bus and back to it.
All over again.
Yep. Like, I remember that night, like, oh, we had a great time. Great time. And I remember I had my girlfriend at the time. I'm like, babe, I don't feel good. So we walked outside, and I was like, I'm laying on this picnic table, this wooden picnic table, and I'm like, just the wimpiest, trying to like get it out. I'm like, meanwhile, she's rubbing my back.
She's not your girlfriend now.
No, it was a different circumstance. It was COVID. COVID just ruined it and other things. But yeah, no, so that night I'm like, and then I just laid on the picnic table, just looking up at the stars and just trying to catch my breath, I guess, because it was a long day.
Hey, at least you made it through the wedding. There's been members of bridal parties that I never saw.
Oh no,
they didn't make it to the wedding.
Oh.
Like pre-wedding pictures, too drunk, never showed up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So at least you made it through.
Well, and then, so there's another story behind that. And you already know my personality is very outgoing and everything. Give me alcohol, and it's like crank it up.
No.
You know, so I'm a fun time when I'm not an angry drunk. I'm not a sad drunk. I am a fun drunk.
Life of the party drunk.
Literally. Like, I can be the life of the party sober. Right? Like, my buddy's dad goes, "Hey, Matt, do you ever get drunk and sing karaoke?" I go, "I do that sober."
Right.
I have a whole list of different, genres and songs, a playlist
there you go.
that I have to sing karaoke to. He goes, "Oh, okay." So he already knows. And, but yeah, so we were getting ready, and this is when we were like pre-gaming and everything. And my buddy bought these small white tees. So he was in the Marines, and he had his dress blues, and he was going to wear a white tee underneath. But he bought kids small. So sober mind is like, that would be funny if I put that on. And then didn't think about it the entire night. We go back to the hotel room that we got dressed in, and I'm already drunk as a skunk, and I go in. I am like, I'm putting that shirt on.
Oh, no.
So I go in, take off whatever, and put on that shirt. I wish I had my phone on me. But then I put the shirt on and then just bust out and saying, "Fat guy in a little shirt." Hold on. I'm going to grab my phone. Hold on 1 second. Oh, it's in my pocket. Oh, don't you just love that where you're like, oh, it's over here, and then you're like, nope, it's actually in my pocket.
Happens all the time.
Let's see. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a hilarious moment because everybody was cracking up and just dying of laughter, and then I made it worse by just still wearing it.
Oh, no.
And just sitting on the couch. Granted, this was like 5 years ago, so there's a lot of pictures. Let's see here. And we're almost there. There it is. Flask in hand.
I mean, that's a sports bra.
That's a crop top. That is a full-on crop top.
How hard was that to get off?
Oh, it was so
Or
hard.
did you cut it off?
Oh, I took it off, but it was so hard to take off. But then it becomes funny because then I start sitting, and my buddy Thomas looks at me and goes, "Okay, it's not funny anymore."
And you're like, yes, it is.
I'm like, "It's still funny." I'm like, "Look, nobody's paying attention whatsoever."
I'm letting this thing ride.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, but it was that was probably one of the most memorable times of like standing up in a wedding. And then another time I remember I stood up in this wedding and I heard that it was going to be a backyard wedding. I'm like, okay, they probably got a bunch of land to where the ceremony will be over here, and then over here it'll be, you know, where the tent is and everything like that. I get there, it's literally a, you know, small backyard.
Standard subdivision.
Yes. I'm like, where's the property?
That I haven't done.
Oh, well, it gets better. So we walk, you know, we do our thing, take the pictures and stuff like that. And then the DJ was her cousin that was just hooked onto Oggs. And I go, do you have the bridal party walkout song? He goes, no. I go, you're about to. So I had, you know,
DJ Maddie.
yeah. So I immediately was like, all right, this is the song that they want. Because I had told them, I was like, do you guys have a entrance song? And they said no. And I was like, here's a list. Pick it. Pick one. And they're like, okay, we like this one. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go, play the song. And he goes, okay. After that, you know, we did our thing. It was fun. And then afterwards, like, he played music that was just random. I don't even remember some of the songs. Like, nobody was dancing.
Let this be a note to all of you watching. Do not hire your cousins as your DJ.
Right.
Hire-
To just connect to Oggs.
Trust the professionals.
Yes.
That is why we're here.
Yes. So, and then all of a sudden the music just stopped because I think he just left. So there was no music the rest of the night.
Yeah, I'm bored. I'm going to head out.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, like some weddings I've looked at, I'm like, not going to do that.
So I have a rule. I am either close enough to stand in your wedding or far enough to DJ your wedding.
Right.
I don't attend weddings because when I do, everyone comes up to me. They're like, you got to step in. You got to go DJ. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. That would have been the wedding where people were like, well, Doug's here. So I would have gotten stuck on my phone all of a sudden as a DJ. And I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
That's why I don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm either close enough that I'm a part of your wedding or far enough that you've hired me to do your wedding.
Right.
There is no in between.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. Now, what are your prices? Like, I know you have different settings of different packages, right? That you sell. So, like, what for those that are possibly getting married or are looking for a DJ or something like that, what packages do you guys?
So we offer ceremony, reception, a photo booth, and then what we consider uplighting or extra lighting for around the room. Our minimum, which is just the reception, is $2,000. And then whatever variety of other items you need goes all the way up to $3,000. And then it can go up from there if you have to add on hours. Our contracts end at 11 p.m. Historically, the weddings that we've done that have gone past 11 have been terrible. It's 90% of the people have left. People are way too sloppy. We're DJing high-end weddings. You want to end on a high note. You don't want to end with like 6 people and 2 people are throwing up in the corner. Like you want to end where it's just still elite. But you can pay for extra hours, stuff like that. So yeah, we start at $2,000 and go up from there.
Okay. And you said that's pretty. Now, knowing that I haven't, done the finances on a wedding, is that very normal?
No, we're definitely on the higher end.
Okay.
There are companies that are much higher.
Yeah.
I would say the majority of DJs are probably sitting around $1,000 to $1,250, maybe $1,500 as like their kind of starting or like most popular package.
Yeah.
The majority of our weddings are $2,500 to $2,750.
Okay. Well,
which is mid to high end.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of equipment and everything like that, and
Right.
seeing the different videos and stuff like that. It seems like it's a very, like you said, high end kind of
Right.
vibe to it, and I feel like if that's what you want for your wedding, that's what you're gonna get.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's a plus. So to bounce off of that, you are also a owner of Title Boxing in Shelby Township. How did you get started doing that?
So DJing led to that. So when I quit my job to DJ full time, I connected with a guy named Ben Boudreau. He owned a gym out in Auburn Hills called Acceleration Fitness, and he was training me, but I couldn't afford his training anymore because I just quit my job. So we exchanged basically a membership to the gym, and I would DJ events at their gym.
Good trade-off.
Right. Exactly. So then I get a phone call from Orange Theory. They were looking for a DJ to do once a month at all 3 of their locations. One thing led to another. I was DJing at 18 Orange Theories. I was DJing at, between me and my guys, at 2 to 3 F45s, a whole bunch of local gyms. Like we expanded to over 20 to 25 gyms in the area. And that's all weekday stuff. So DJing weddings in the weekend, filling time, making money during the week. Well, a lot of people had asked me if I've ever met this guy named Preacher Chris. He owned Title Boxing Shelby and Macomb and East Lansing at the time. And I was like, no. And they're like, well, you need to get coffee. This is a guy you just need to be friends with. So I was like, all right. So I sit down with him, said, hey, I'm just going to get it out. Do you have a DJ at your gym? He's like, yep, we do. It's a good friend of mine. I'm like, cool. I won't even ask. Let's just move on. So me and him became good friends. I never wanted to DJ at Title because he had a guy there. Well, then he sold the gym. So I was like, all right. He left and his boy went with him. So I walked in there one day, never had been there before. Walked in the door, said, hey, I know you guys have a new owner. Do you have a DJ? They're like, no. What do you charge? Told them what I charge. They're like, yeah, come take a class. If you like it, we'll put you on the schedule. Sweet. So I took a class. This is the first gym since Acceleration where I bartered a membership into my pricing and fell in love. During that time, ownership had taken over, management had changed, a lot of coaches had left, things were starting to fall apart. All the coaches were starting to leave. I was there 2, 3, 4 days a week taking classes. They asked me to coach, which is hilarious now looking back at how god awful I was at boxing. I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I was terrible, but I started coaching. And then when I started coaching, I saw the business side because you're on the computer, you're checking people in, you're realizing how many classes are getting canceled and how many coaches just aren't showing up, and just the culture had fallen apart.
Right.
So I didn't need to be coaching. That was like a fun little, well, this will be cool, whatever. But it got to the point where I went from being the backup coach to coaching like 8 to 10 classes a week. And so I told him, I said, all right, we got to talk. Like, this is too much. I feel like I'm carrying the gym now. And I don't even really, like, I work here, but I don't work here. And so I asked him, I was like, can we sit down? So I sat down with the GM, and he had no idea what was going on. He's like, yeah, this is falling apart. I was like, are you guys trying to sell it? And he's like, well, I don't know. I got to talk to the owner. I'm not sure. I said, tell him I want to buy it. Mind you, I have no money. We had just started this DJ company, went full time. We have a house. We had a kid on the way. And I'm like, I have no way to afford this. But I'm going to buy it. I don't know how. I'm just going to freaking do it. So then I get a call from the owner like an hour later. I want to meet up. Let's talk. So he throws this massive price tag at me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I have no idea. I've never bought anything.
You've never
like that.
done business like that before.
Right. So I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, sure. I'm sure you're not trying to like
Scam me.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So he's a great guy. We get along well. But he gives me this massive number. And I talked to a whole bunch of other business owners. I had a mentor at the time. And you're a baseball guy. Do you remember Andy Dirks? Played for the Tigers. So he was my mentor at the time through odd channels.
Okay.
And he started going like, this is how you acquire a business. This is the metrics that you use. And I went back and I told the guys like, the business is dying. Like, I'm not going to spend money to buy it. I said, you're asking me to find an investor to trust me to buy the business and run it. Why don't you just give me half the business and you be the investor? He's like, all right, cool. So he went from like a massive amount of money to like giving me half the gym legally.
Yeah.
Paid the attorneys. I put a small chunk of money in just to like light the gym back up, buy some merchandise, buy some gloves, do a little bit of a remodel. And then a year later, wound up working another deal to buy the other half once we were profitable and we turned it around. But for the first 18 months or more, I didn't take a dime. I worked 40 plus hours a week for free. Absolutely free. Worked my tail off. But I now own 100% of the gym. I'm on salary, as is my wife. And we're opening up our second one. Like, we have turned it around completely. So I would do it 100 times.
Yeah.
It was so worth it. But yeah, it all started because I was DJing at a gym that was coincidentally failing and dying at the same time.
And it was just a good opportunity, like you said, that you took it and ran
in my lap. Yeah, it didn't make any sense, man. That's how God's kind of always worked in my life. And people say, they're like, Doug, you say the dumbest things, and then you somehow still make them happen. Like, no one else would be like, yeah, I'm going to buy this gym, and then with $0 to your name, somehow still buy the gym. I was like, well, when God puts something out there, he's like, go get it. I'll take care of the rest. Like, it works.
Yeah.
And so I just have a blow through a brick wall mentality. That's how I always have been. Like, nothing's ever been given to me. I've worked my tail off for every step of the process that every business I've built, everything. So this came up and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I'm going to do it. And here we are.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, opening the next one, not near as cheap.
Yeah.
Not near as cheap. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's where banks come in. But didn't have to get a bank loan for the first one. This one we do. But man, it's just been.
But would you say it's a lot easier now that you're more established than the other one?
Yeah, because we built a structure. We built the foundation. And I knew I wanted more quickly. So as we were building the team, building the foundation, like you could ask any of my management, we've never built for Shelby. We've always built for scaling. We've built to be able to duplicate what we're doing. If you notice on Title Boxing Shelby, the Instagram, I'm not on it very much.
No.
It's the rest of the team.
Right.
And that's very strategic. I don't want to be on it. I don't want the identity of Title Boxing Shelby to be based around one person because I can't scale me. Yeah.
You want to scale the community.
I want to scale the community. I want to scale the events. I want to scale the culture. If you can scale the culture, it's a lot easier to do than saying, well, Doug needs to work 40 to 50 hours here, 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 and here, because that's impossible.
Yeah.
So from day one, I was pushing everybody else. I want you on the Instagram. I want you heading the events. You coach this. You do that. And at one, and it really gives everybody this sense of empowerment. So they're growing. They're feeling some ownership in the business and what we're doing. And the beauty of it is when we open up the second location, I'll spike it and the exact same thing. Everybody who is building it is the face, not me. I'm just the one behind the scenes building the culture. I'm coaching just like everybody else. I'm working a staff shift just like everybody else. I just happen to also be the owner. But as far as the culture, it's not based on Doug.
No.
It's based on the people that we've built it around. So that's, when you say, does it seem easier for the second? Because I haven't done it yet, I don't know. But everything we've done is to scale, not just to make Shelby really freaking cool, which it is. I mean, we just this last weekend, we had 160 people in one class. Yeah. It was crazy.
I believe I saw the post on that. It was a big group.
It was nuts. Mind you, a sellout is 35.
Yeah.
We had 160 in one class. So we take up the whole parking lot. It was just, I mean, y'all will see the video soon because we had a professional video team. Shout out to Benson. it's nuts.
Yeah.
Like you'll see it and you'll be like, I've never seen group fitness do that ever.
That's awesome.
It was great. Corporate flew out. He said the same thing. He's like, I've never seen, he worked Orange Theory, F45, 24-hour fitness. He's like, no one's ever done this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like that is scalable because I didn't matter in the equation. The team did.
Mm-hmm.
If I was there or wasn't there, it was still going to sell 160 people.
Right.
And that's what the goal is.
And in a sense, you guys are trailblazing, not just you, but
Yeah.
like the whole group is trailblazing the fact that that's pretty much the first time that that's really happened.
Right.
So that's awesome. And one thing for sure, taking your class, yeah, you pushed me to the limit. And if you like to get pushed to the limit and wanting to have a good workout, Doug's the man to do the job, and all the other coaches.
Yeah.
And I still remember when I brought my friends, we were dying by the end, but it was a good dying to where we're just, our shoulders were dead and our abs were on fire, our legs were on fire, and at the end of it, we're like, well, that was pretty good workout.
Right. Exactly. It's like, how am I dying? And also I have more energy and more excitement than I've ever had in my life at the exact same time.
Right.
It's kind of that euphoric feeling when you go to a concert that blows away your expectation. You're like, I've been standing here for 3 hours watching this show, but as soon as it's done, you have this high. And
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, that was, start over. Let's do it right now. Like run it back.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with boxing. And it works that way with the personal training side of boxing too. Like if you're one-on-one with a trainer, it's 10 times more death. But there's this this euphoria that comes afterwards.
Right.
Boxing is, they're doing research on research on research. It's the #1 mental health workout on the planet
Yeah.
because the endorphins that you're firing when you're hitting a bag, when you're making contact, when you're hitting something with that sort of velocity, one, it spikes up almost like an antidepressant. Like you are all of a sudden feeling just, I'm not near as stressed as I was when I got here. And then just working out in general. We tell people all the time, like, boxing might not be for you, but please move. Like, move your body. Go out and find something that is going to work for you.
Yeah.
Just working out in general is the best thing for your mental health. There's research being done that working out is more mental than it will ever be physical.
Very true.
That if you want to get in shape, fix your diet. Workout is second. But guess why you don't want to fix your diet? Because your mental health is so jacked up. So get your mental health fixed by working out, getting the endorphins flowing, getting the good stuff moving. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't want to eat like garbage. I want to eat a little bit better. Maybe not a ton better, but a little bit better. And then you can mentally get to the place where you can start to really hone in on your discipline.
Yeah.
But the mental side of what we do is why we do it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you probably burnt 700 to 800 calories in that 45-minute class,
I believe it.
which is the average. For men, it's between 600 and 800 per 45-minute class,
Yeah.
which is nuts.
Yeah.
And the whole time, are you running on a treadmill? No. Are you just sitting there like lifting weights with somebody just like, all right, here, one more, bud. Like, what do we do next? No, you're punching things. You're literally hitting things.
And there's really no break.
Right. Exactly.
It's like what was hilarious was I brought this water bottle and I have two boxing gloves on and I'm trying to open this up and I started using my teeth to the point where as soon as I got it off and I got a couple gulps of water in, I had to set it down and I didn't even twist it back on. I was just like, all right, I'll come back to you later.
The good news, people, is you get used to how to take your gloves off quickly. Don't be afraid.
But for your first time,
Yeah.
it's a nightmare.
My favorite is when it's somebody's first class and they don't know how to put the gloves on and they're just standing there like, how do I Velcro with the?
See,
Like,
that's
don't put your teeth on it.
that's the
That's
easy
gross.
that's the easy part for me. One, because I've used punching gloves or boxing gloves before, so and putting on the Velcro with just the other glove.
Right.
That was the easy part. It was just handling things.
We have people that literally like we rent these gloves out every single day. So like, and we have special glove deodorizers, bacteria killers, all this stuff. So they're clean.
Oh yeah,
But at the same time, like you're putting your mouth.
where somebody
No, don't do that.
Yeah,
like,
where
just
somebody
pinch
was-
it. You'll figure it out.
Yeah,
But no, it's as much as I loved DJing, like I was obsessed, buying gear, creating a better light show, like the little nitty gritty details that no one else sees, building literally like textbook psychology that I could train other DJs in so that they could do this day one.
Yeah.
That passion pales in comparison to what I have found with Tidal.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
It's like a dangerous obsession.
Oh yeah.
Obsessed.
Like in having you be a coach and being in your class, like you can see that dedication, you can see that passion, and it not only made me happy that I got to be a part of that, but to see you being happy where you are, that was like, I'm like, he's living life right now.
Yeah.
He is loving life, living it to the fullest, and I'm glad I got to be a part of that kind of thing. You know?
mean, I don't know many people who own a business yet too. And my sole job in life with both of my businesses are to make people happy.
Yeah.
And both in relatively healthy ways. One is a very healthy way.
Yes.
Weddings, as you have just beautifully painted the picture of, sometimes they're not the healthiest of ways. But nonetheless, my job is to make people happy.
Yeah.
And it's man, it's just a blessing. It truly is. And it has always been a blessing. But at the end of the day, I just love people. And I'm obsessed with people. In college, I wanted to study psychology because I'm just infatuated by people, how they move, how they interact, why they do the things that they do.
What makes people tick.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
I freaking love it. So like, even the television I watch, like we watch like crime dramas and the detective, like, well, he did this, and I'm like right there with him. Like that's just how my brain works. I want to figure out people.
I've come to see that I'm the same exact way. I wasn't that way back in high school, nor was I. It kind of had just fallen into my lap.
Yeah.
I think what it was, I don't know. I think what it was, I think I was watching like serial killer stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why do they do that? Why do they, kill X amount of people and just not have a care in the world? Like, what makes them tick? And then to find out, like, I had a piece of paper written somewhere. I went to a lecture, and it was like a breakdown of like what made it was like a ticking time bomb,
right?
And this isn't just 1 week you got fired from your job and you were married and had kids and you had a great living growing up and everything, and then just something snaps. It wasn't even that. It was abuse from early infancy, neglect, what was it, brain injury, and then bullying on top of it, and then and then it just goes down the line, and then that's when it just goes snap.
And yeah, it's Hollywood, sure, but you watch a show like Criminal Minds, and you start to realize that like so much of human behavior is almost mathematical. Like, this plus this equals this behavior.
Correct.
Okay, we've seen this much behavior, this many times they've done this. We can now predict the next thing they're going to do, which you shouldn't be able to predict human behavior. But you can.
Yeah.
And that's the psychology we use in DJing, right? We're watching them. If I do this, they're going to do that. If I play this, they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't work. Now I can predict even better what the next song will do. But I brought a lot of that into Tidal as well.
Yeah.
Human behavior loves structure, loves organization. The funniest thing is one of the biggest things I did that made people go, oh my gosh, Doug does care. I simply took all the kettlebells. We probably had 100 kettlebells. I took the kettlebells and I taped little colored electrical tape around them to say what weight they were, because you couldn't just see it on the old like heavy iron whatever kettlebells. Right. I just labeled the kettlebells, and people were like, I was getting compliments for weeks over electrical tape on kettlebells. But you start to realize people just want to know you care.
Yeah.
From a wedding all the way to a boxing gym in Shelby Township. Like, they just want to know you truly, truly care and that you want what is best for them.
Yeah.
In our sales process, our biggest thing is we don't talk about title. You're like, wait, what do you mean? How do you sell without talking about title? We talk about them. Everything is about the customer. What will help them? What is going on in your life that you need this? No one woke up and was like, I want to spend $140 a month. Nobody said that.
Right.
But why are you choosing to spend $140 a month here?
Yeah.
And what is that why? I actually had a guy come out today to my house to talk about my gutters. We met crazy rain the other day, and I had a whole bunch of water. My gutters were all plugged. So I was like, maybe we should get some gutter guards, whatever. This guy shows up, and he's got a 3-ring binder, and he is for 10 minutes telling me how amazing their company is.
Selling you on the company.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not investing in your company. I need gutter guards. I need something to stop water from going outside of the gutters and keep the water in the gutters.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he gave me some massive price, but he could have given me the perfect price. And I was like, I just don't care. Nothing that you did was about me. You showed me that you wanted to sell your product your way so that you can make money.
Right.
No part of me was influenced that this guy cared about me.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
To the point where he goes, well, what price were you expecting? I said, I didn't expect a price. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I didn't expect I didn't know what the price would be. I had water coming into my house from bad gutters. So the first thing I did is Instagram popped up an ad because I'm talking about gutters. And of course, Instagram's listening to everything you do. I clicked free quote, and then I haven't thought about it since. I got 400 other things in my life going on. I was like, check, got that off my to-do list.
Right.
And he goes, you're the first person in 6 years that didn't tell me what price they expected. And he was like shocked by it. And I'm like, once again, this is about you. And so at Title, at SBS, it's like, SBS doesn't matter. Title doesn't matter. What's going on in your life?
Yeah.
How can we help you?
Yeah.
What is the number one thing people want to talk about? Themselves. 100%.
Yeah.
So I'm infatuated by that.
Yeah.
And a big psychology of what we do at Title is ask questions. Why are you here? Why did you pick Title? Okay, tell me more about that. How is that working for you? How did that go? I've been there before. Did you like it? Yeah, tell me about it. Like, just keep going about them. Never talking about Title.
Yeah.
SBS is the same. We want to create memories for you that you will never forget.
Yeah.
What are those things in your life that you can bring into your wedding that you haven't even thought of?
Right.
We did one of my favorite wedding moments of all time, and it was a good one. So when people ask, like, what's your best story? I never think of the good ones. I think of the people falling through tables.
Because those are always the memorable ones.
Right, exactly. So one of the best stories ever, and shout out to the McGee's. It was a COVID wedding. And so I do a phone interview with them instead of meeting in person, which usually we meet in person because I'm obsessed with people. And so he goes, hey, man, everything sounds great, but I need to know that you will promise me you'll play this one song. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'll have a $50 bill in my pocket. If it bombs, I'll just walk up and hand it to you and just say thank you. I'm like,
easy money.
I'm like kind of getting afraid. I'm like, what song is it?
Right.
It's Eye to Eye, which is the main song of the Goofy movie.
Oh, yes. Love that song.
Great jam, right?
Yes.
But like, does any DJ just have that in the wedding run?
No.
Never.
No.
So I'm like, all right, bro, like, sure, if it means that much to you, like, I'll play it. So we go into the details, and he's like, yeah, it's just our friend group, man. Like, we play it at every party. It's just something that, like, it means a ton to us. Like, that's our freaking song.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool. So we get to the wedding, playing all night, and he, like, looks up. He's like, it's time. It's time. I'm like, all right. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I heard y'all have been waiting for this. And I swear it was like I just said, I have stacks of money for you to take. They flood the stage. I hit bump, 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 bump. Bro, it was like Morgan Wallen jumped on stage.
Oh, that's great.
Like, they went so hard. And to me, that's where my head's like,
Word
that's
for
so
word.
freaking cool.
Word for word,
Right.
singing along to it. That's awesome.
Like, that wedding wasn't, well, I know what's best for you, so I'm going to do this. That song will never work. No, that was like, that had a story behind it.
Absolutely.
There was a why behind that.
Correct.
And man, and then of course he came up. He's like, I didn't tell you, but can you play that Michael Jackson song from Free Willy? I'm like, I know exactly the one. And will you be there?
Oh.
And immediately played that, and like every guy's unbuttoning his shirt and just like, and it was the most memorable wedding because simply I took the time to care about what they wanted, what was going to be special for them.
Yeah.
And man, that's where I get like geeked out. I'm like, if I can learn about people more and how to read them better and how to manipulate's the wrong word. We say manipulate energy, right? Like we want to manipulate the energy in the room to go where it's going to be the best. But if I can learn how to control the atmosphere in which people are in to make their lives better because of it, that's where I get like nerdy and I'm just like, this is so freaking cool.
I love that. And like you were saying, like, you know, when you ask so many questions, and it's like I do the same thing, even though I notice that I talk way too much.
Same.
But when I ask questions and then I can bounce off of the answers and everything, and then when you can like what we're doing now, like main reason why I wanted to do a podcast was because I talk too much in between songs on the radio, and my boss, my uncle, would tell me, you're talking too much. Nobody cares.
Sure.
They just want to listen to the music.
Right.
Nobody cares really what you have to say about, you know, the fact that, you know, Morgan Wallen is at number 1 on the country charts. You're not Casey Kasem.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And granted, it's not like he was being mean about it. He was just being real, you know.
Right.
And then I thought to myself after I had left radio is when you're playing music, you don't want to hear somebody talk. You want to go from the next jam to the next jam to the next jam.
Right.
That's it. And if you in radio, if you can say something that's going on within the community just for a couple seconds and then, oh, here's another tune for you.
Right.
Then that's how it goes. But with me, it's like I want to talk to people. I want to have conversation because I notice that the best conversations that happen are at bonfires.
Absolutely.
Because you can talk for hours and hours and hours and just keep that fire burning.
Mm-hmm.
And with that fire burning, the conversation's burning.
Right.
So, and just bouncing off of stories like, oh, I got this one story of the time that I was at this wedding. Oh, no kidding. I got the same kind of vibe. But, you know,
Right.
and then you just, it's like a comparison competition.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the fun part about it. And not only do you get to say learn something about that person that you probably knew for years, but then there's this one story that nobody knows of.
Sure.
You can automatically tell it, and then it's such a great story, funny story, and that will hold on forever. And
Right.
it's like, why not record some of those stories?
Yeah.
You know, whether it be, you know, a funny story or a sad story, it just makes it more real.
Sure.
And it brings you closer to that person, whether you don't know the person, whether you do. It's absolutely wonderful. And asking, you know, what made you do this? How did you get started doing that? And everything. It makes somebody be like, oh, well, blah, 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 you know? And sometimes I've noticed when doing like this podcast is, you know, like people like yourself or like other people that like to talk,
Sure.
they could talk your ear off. And if I don't have to say a word,
Right.
it's a great interview.
Yeah.
But when I'm asking so many questions and I feel like I'm the main one talking and they're not talking as much,
Right.
then it's a iffy interview,
Sure.
you know? So, and even when you still do the, you know, what, when, why, all that stuff.
Right.
So,
Yeah, man. People are interesting. Some people, what I'm trying to train my team on is there are going to be people that have layer upon layer upon layer of security.
mm-hmm.
And especially in the gym world, we're tapping into a very insecure world, right? You're talking about weight loss, mental health, stuff that people are uncomfortable talking about sometimes.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite moments that I've had at Tidal since I bought the gym was we have a staff meeting every Monday. and we're going through what we call the fighter framework, which is the sales process that we use. And one of our top employees was like, what if they just want to try it out because it's fun? I go, doesn't exist. She's like, what do you mean? Doesn't exist. She's like, I do it just because I like it. I go, no, you don't. She's like, what are you talking about? Like, say more words. And I'm like, nobody wakes up, like I said earlier, nobody wakes up and they're like $140 a month to just have fun doing what we do, which, like you said, I killed you that day. Yeah. There was a ton of positive, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
It is hard. You were paying a good amount of money to go do something very hard. Mm-hmm. That's not how the human brain works. Unless there is some sort of reward afterwards. And it's not just, well, it was fun. No, if you want to pay something monthly because it's fun, that's when you pay a membership to a movie theater or concert or putt-putt or something that's not hard. It's just entertaining. Mm-hmm. What we do is very strenuous. It's hard. So she's like, no, like, I do this because I love it. And I go, no, look at your Instagram. She goes, what do you mean? I said, your story is that you wouldn't leave your bed for almost 5 days because you were struggling with crippling depression. You were 50 pounds overweight. You were so upset with your life in college without your family. You were miserable until someone forced you to get out of bed and go try title boxing in East Lansing. She's like, oh. And I'm like, boxing changed your life. So yes, now it is fun because it's a part of who you are. Mm. But it started with, this is what got you out of depression. Mm. There's such a deeper level. So somebody walks in and they're like, yeah, I think it'd be fun. Well, I can tell you a lot of things that are fun for $140 that aren't going to kill you like this.
Yeah, I could too.
So what are you doing right now for fitness? Oh, I go to Planet Fitness. Oh, how's that going for you? Well, I never really go. Okay, so that's not working, obviously.
The motivation.
And you just keep asking these questions, and all of a sudden you're going to get to the point where somebody's like, you know what? Sometimes it's just hard to get out of bed. And I think hitting something will really help me. Holy crap, if I would have just ended with, well, you just want to look for something that's fun, you didn't tap into that part of your brain that is dying for something better. Mm. But we keep asking questions, keep digging deeper into them. Not, oh yeah, well, you were looking for something fun? Let me tell you about Tidal. It is so much fun, man. Hey, this DJ company, we're going to make your wedding so much fun. No, what is it about you that needs this? Mm. And that is what we've built on. And that is why I'm so infatuated with this business, because you hear these stories, you see these people, these moms, these dads, these grandparents, that this is their outlet. There's a woman in our gym right now. Her husband is suffering from CTE, passes out during the day, forgets who's in the room, crazy stuff. Her only outlet in life is when he's sleeping, she can come to the gym and hit something. Tears in her eyes, here to hit something. Mm. On the surface, you'd never know it.
Dude, I just got chills when you said that.
Right. But like that's real.
Yeah.
It's not just, and no offense to Planet Fitness, but it's not just going, lifting weights, heading home, headphones on, not talking to anybody.
Right.
There is a depth to why we love what we do. Sorry, I know I'm kind of rambling, but
no, that's beautiful.
The beauty of the conversation of, what are you talking about? I just do this for fun. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Look at your life. This gym is such a part of who you have become. Mm-hmm. To now, yeah, it's a blast. It's fun for you. This is your home. Mm-hmm. But how did you get here? Everyone walking through these doors has a story that hopefully one day we'll be able to say, how did you get here? Because right now they're there. Mm-hmm. We got to get them out of there.
Now, do you usually have people that walk in and there's a certain look that they have?
Both. Yeah, we'll have the people that walk in that are just like, I'm a fitness enthusiast and I've just been waiting to hit something. I'm stressed out at home and like, this is going to be a good outlet, and they're just juiced for it. Yeah. And then we have the people that walk in and you're like, you are fighting some demons, my friend. Mm-hmm. We have a guy right now who my staff was actually like, this guy's a jerk. Like, bad experience. We signed him up, but like, he did not act like he wanted to be here. He was just really weird first experience. I wasn't there for it. Come to find out, this guy has gone through the ringer, and now he doesn't miss a day. And it's just the face he walked in with is gone. Now every day he walks in and hey, how are you? Oh, good to see you, man. Great. Like, he's energetic, and he walked in guarded. I'm not letting anybody in. And now he's there once or twice a day. It's just, so yeah, you see I'm hyped up. I'm just ready to get, like, go smash that bag. And then some people are like, this might be my last resort. I don't know where else I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you see it on their face.
Yeah.
It's.
I honestly wonder what my friends and I's face would look like.
Your guys was a little different because I invited you. I was
Right,
like,
right.
You have to be here.
Yeah.
I got challenges I have to meet. You got to be here.
Yeah.
But no, the fun part for you guys is, like, you guys went hard.
Yeah.
Some people, like, take it easy on their first one. They don't want to, like, oh, I don't want people to look at me. I don't know what. No, you guys went hard.
Yeah.
And your buddy and his wife were like, this was a lot more fun than we thought it was going to be.
Oh, yeah, because
we came because Matt told us we had to be here. And they're like, this was great.
Yeah. And what was hilarious is I was like, yo, let's go to this tile boxing. And it was just my buddy Thomas, and he's like, oh, okay. He goes, can Haley come with? I'm like, absolutely. Yeah. And then, we showed up, and then I was like, oh, by the way, I'm going to interview him on my podcast. And he goes, aha. He goes, so there was a gain on your end on this.
Hidden motive.
Yeah, there was a hidden motive for this. And I was like, yeah, but did you have a fun time? And he goes, we did. And we were actually talking about it when I was healing up from the nose surgery that I had. We were actually talking about it, I think at trivia night, and they were like, so when are we going back?
Yeah.
I was like,
I've been wondering the same thing.
yeah.
Because I can tell genuinely when people are like, yeah, this was great. And it's like, this isn't for you. But the three of you were like, this is freaking great.
Yeah.
It was just bad timing for you.
It was.
You were going into surgery the next day.
The next day.
And so I'm like, I'm going to give Matt some time before I'm like, when are you coming back, bud?
And then I had a whole month of, like, the fact that I had hematomas that were built up in my nose. And so I had to go in for a second surgery.
Right.
And it was not what I planned whatsoever.
Right.
But it was just like, it was just bad. And then and then after, I think it was like after I had come back to work, and then it was like Mother's Day and like that Mother's Day weekend, and then I had a vacation right after that. And so I was just like back to back to back to where like I'm like, all right, what's coming up this weekend?
Right.
And
We're literally kind of hitting the freedom part of summer now, where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't really have much going on until the fall. Like this is the good part of the year where it's just like, let's just have some fun.
That's the funny part too, because like with me, it's like, all right, podcast, all right, and then date on Sunday, okay,
Hey.
and then and then it's just like, okay, and then I'm getting a lot of text messages about Father's Day, and then the graduation parties, and it's just like, everybody says, oh yeah, summer's free. No, it's not.
Oh man,
Not in my schedule. It's not.
life always hits though. That's for sure.
It does.
I'll tell you, sales wise, June is literally like our best month.
Yeah.
And I think it's because people in the chaos are like, I need some stability. So like, I need to find a community to get me through the summer chaos.
Yeah.
Like we're doing a big promo, literally a 3-month promo, because we know like the summertime, like one, people either have a lot more time on their hands or the opposite where they're like, I'm so crazy now. I need that, like that 6 a.m. every day. I'm going to do it just to like have my foundation.
Yeah.
But yeah, June is crazy. And then all summer kind of ebbs and flows. And then the fall gets a little bit more steady again.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think when that happens, like kids are back in school and
Moms have time.
moms definitely have time a lot more, and even dads. Like I always look at it like this: like, why is the dad bod so popular now? Part of me is
We
like,
would need a whole nother podcast for me to go into.
what would be your short version?
I have some theories. I mean, the short theory is that our culture has created acceptance of comfort and not acceptance of health. And that's just our culture.
Yeah.
Like we have accepted that you are beautiful no matter how you are. And that's true to an extent.
Correct.
But there's beauty in who you are, but there is not beauty in the lack of health that you're accepting into your life.
Right.
And that's where our culture is kind of backwards right now. We don't want to get comfortable being unhealthy.
Right.
Mentally or physically. we do something at Title called the knockout stigma, and that's getting rid of the stigma of you can't talk about mental health, right? You want to, I'm depressed, but I can't tell anybody. Like, no, bring your depression, bring your anxiety. We want to fight that. But the other side is, like you said, the dad bod. Why are we so comfortable being out of shape?
Yeah.
Why are we so okay with like, yeah, I'm fat, I'm overweight, I'm obese, I'm this, I'm that. Like, well, the culture says it's okay now. Why? You know you're unhealthy.
Yeah.
You know you're not happy with it. But culture has just become too accepting.
Right.
And it's like anything else. There needs to be balance, right? It doesn't need to be like, oh, you don't have a six-pack, you're a miserable piece of crap. Like, it never should ever be that.
No.
But it also shouldn't be like, you struggle to tie your shoes and that's okay. Like, no, it's not.
No,
like,
it's not.
We need to be healthier.
Yeah.
As a society, we need to be healthier.
Yeah.
And that's an American thing.
Yeah.
Overseas, it isn't like that.
So I went on a date with a Venezuelan chick, and she was telling me about how her mom would say, "Oh, you're gaining weight. You're being an American."
Yeah.
I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Oh, absolutely.
Like how do I honestly wonder, like, how do other countries like view us to where
Fat and lazy.
yeah, fat, lazy, and that, what was it? She goes, I think I wore like a ball cap, a t-shirt, and like jeans. And she goes, you look like a standard American. All you need is blonde hair, blue eyes. I was
Yeah.
like, why blonde hair, blue eyes?
That's
She goes,
the picture.
That's the picture.
Yeah.
And that, and the fact that we're overweight and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
It's the weird culture we've created, and it's unhealthy. It sets people into a place of like complacency. I'm allowed to be this.
Yeah.
Your doctor's probably disagreeing. Your longevity of life probably disagrees. And at the end of the night, when you put your head on the pillow, I think you disagree too. And that's the hard part. That's a big part of my story is I got up to 265 pounds. I was just coasting along in my marriage. My poor wife had to deal with me, and I was just probably a miserable person to be around.
Have you asked her that? Like, was I a miserable person to be
Yeah,
around?
she denies it, but I know it's true. I was just coasting through my job, and that's where my friend Ben, who I talked about earlier, that coach, one day I just kind of sat at my house and I had a man in the mirror moment. I'm like, I have not worked out in years. I eat like crap. I show up to work. I do my job. I show up late to work. I leave early. Like, I don't put effort into anything.
Yeah, no discipline.
No discipline. I'm far from my relationship with God, my business, my wife, and we didn't even have kids yet. And I just felt like I was drowning. And I just had that man in the mirror moment. I was 265 pounds. I wasn't 450. Like, I was still athletic. I was still doing things. I could still play sports. But I knew how unhealthy I was getting. It was that same thing. Yeah. Go down and tie your shoes. And okay. Like, I was like, how did I get here? I played sports through high school. I played intramural in college. Like, how did I get here? And I had that man in the mirror moment. And I called my friend Joe. I said, Joe, who was that coach that came out to camp that year? He's like, his name's Ben. Why? I go, I don't even know who he is. I just know I need to call him. Little did I know that he would become such a foundation of every step of my life after that. And, but it took me finally just sitting there and going, I need to friggin' do something different. I'm so unhappy. And man, he started getting me to do these workouts at home. I lost starting with him, I lost about 20 pounds and was eating better. Then COVID hit. Everything went back downhill. I was also landscaping my house at the time, so I stopped working out.
So that helped too.
Right. Well, it helped in the beginning, but then I stopped working out because I was landscaping. So I'm like, I'm getting my workout in, wheelbarrowing dirt and wood chips and plants and everything around my property.
Right.
Well, then I got out of routine. So when the landscaping was done, I was right back where I was. And that's when I hiked back up to about 260, 265. And right around that time, I started with one of Ben's other coaches. and we were doing bodybuilding, and then right then is when I found Tidal. So I found this perfect mix of lifting and hitting the bag. And that's where I dropped 40 plus pounds. I was in the best shape of my life, but I was mentally in a good place too. I was motivated. I was feeling healthy. But it all started with that man in the mirror. What am I doing? Why am I satisfied with being unhealthy?
Yeah.
And I don't want to take it too far where it's like we said, like, oh yeah, if you're not like shredded and six pack, like you're a waste. It's not that at all.
It's more like if you can catch your breath after doing a workout within
a day.
minute. No, like I always looked at it like this, to where if you can catch your breath within a minute, you're in shape.
Right. Sure.
So, but if it takes you longer to catch your breath,
right,
you're out of shape.
Yeah, I mean, at the time I lived in did I live in the condo then? No, I was actually in our new house. But leading up to it, we lived in a condo upstairs, and it was like I'd get to the top of the stairs and be like, I'm like 12 steps. I shouldn't feel this way. But I kind of pushed it down, and I was like, no, I'm gonna be okay with being complacent. And you just keep going down that path until one day you break down, and I broke down. I mean, if you saw Ben, he is chiseled like a Greek god. And I call this man who I've shaken hands with and said hi, like no conversation ever. And I am sobbing on the phone with this man, sobbing like a little girl, like probably couldn't even get all my words out. And he's just like, yeah, it starts by moving your body.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you very easy workouts, just get you moving again. Here's like a very basic diet plan. It's not crazy. It wasn't like, get rid of all your carbs, chicken with light seasoning and steamed broccoli. It was like balance. Find balance.
Yeah.
Keep some carbs, keep some fats, keep some this, keep some like.
Have a cheat day.
Right. Exactly. Do it all proportionally.
Yeah.
And I found that through his guidance, simply moving my body and just balancing. Maybe don't have the whole hot and ready. Like 1 or 2 slices and you're good. Like maybe don't eat all 8, which I'm so good at.
I am too. Like if I don't eat anything the entire day, I'm hitting it like it's a competition.
Like, it's like a snack. It's
Yeah.
like, this isn't hard.
Yeah. Like I told my mom that, and she's like, Matthew, she's like, what is wrong with you?
It's not hard, people. Like that's
when you're hungry, you are ready to feast like a lion.
Yeah, that's not a challenge.
Yeah, no.
But just simply getting into that mindset of, I want to be healthy. And what does healthy look like? And also understanding that healthy is a daily choice.
Yeah.
It's not if I'm not ripped, I'm not healthy. No, healthy is a daily I'm healthier today than I was yesterday. And that was my goal. And man, it changed my life. Slowly but surely bought a gym because of it.
Right, yeah.
Like,
I mean, when you look on social media, it's like, oh, cool, he's working out. Like, he bought a gym.
Yeah. Well, that's a bold move.
It's like,
that's
wow.
a big step.
It's like, wow, he really likes boxing.
Yeah, so impulsive. Like you were very large like 2 years ago, and now you just think you have the audacity to go buy a gym. Like, okay.
It's like, man, you must really love doing this boxing workout stuff. Like, what? I wonder what that's all about.
And that brings me back to, dude, it's very little about boxing.
Yeah.
It is 5% about boxing. It is 95.9% about just freaking loving people and wanting people to be healthier and better. And if I can be a part of that, I'm happy.
Now, you were saying like about the psychology of people and like how like people are like I'm depressed, but I can't say much about it. You see that a lot in comedians.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, absolutely.
Robin Williams and so many people. And granted, they have an outlet.
Sure.
But then I was watching this, it was like the history of comedy. And Robin Williams is a big person to like surround this on. But there's multiple amounts of different comedians that have that same thing. So they have all this depression and all that stuff. And they joke about it. And people laugh. And one thing I've noticed like about myself is like, if I say something funny and they laugh, I try and go in saying something else funny, and then if I can get somebody to laugh to where they're crying or they say like my stomach hurts, I know I got them in the palm of my hand, right? So when it comes to, and with that you get like this head high, right, and it's like intoxicating to where you want to keep doing that and keep making them laugh and everything, because watching them laugh and watching their amusement out of you gives you this head high. So when you come off stage, you still have that high, and then you come down from it, but you still want that same feeling. Right. And that's where like most comedians would take cocaine and try and get that up, and then they're like, okay, I'm done being up here now, I want to come down here, and then they would take whatever to come down, and it was this roller coaster. And especially with like certain depressions on top of it, which, as a comedian, I mean, granted from like childhood and stuff like that, or, other certain circumstances, I honestly, that was the psychology part of it, is like, how could somebody that is so funny be so sad inside? Yeah.
I know it all too well.
Like that's one thing that, like, granted, like, have things happen in my life. Absolutely. Have certain stories that I tell that are absolutely hilarious when I tell them. Absolutely hilarious. But at the time, they weren't that funny. Right. Yeah. But yet you can shine light on it in a sort of sense. So I get that.
Yeah, it's shining a light on it. I would say is an interesting take. It's almost sometimes it comes from like a point of desperation to get the high, to get the acceptance. Yeah. And I think that's what it comes down to. Depression is lonely. And so when you're in a position where you can get somebody to jump on board with you, well, I got 4 arrows in my quiver. 3 of them make me look really bad, but man, they make people laugh. I don't care. I'm going to use them. Yeah. Right. A big part of what I'm kind of growing through right now through therapy and other things is my whole life I've been the golden boy. At church, at school, I was always the kid that was the leader. I was always the one put on stage. I was always the one who everybody trusted, and well, Doug will do it. He'll take care of it. We know he'll do it. He'll do a great job. Give him the mic. Like, I've always been the golden boy, to the point where I just built up a character. I built up this facade, this mask. And a big part of my story recently is just figuring out who am I really, like, who I see as myself, who my wife sees as the real me, and then who the public sees shouldn't be 3 different people. But I was so good at entertaining everybody and just hiding my garbage, hiding my struggles, hiding my sin, hiding my the things that would make people realize that I'm human. I mean, especially with Tidal, they put me on a pedestal. I go out to conventions and I'm on stage and I'm in videos and I'm all this stuff. And it's like, it feels good to be honored, but at the same time, like, I have to check myself on a regular basis.
You're like, I need to be humbled.
Right. Am I doing that for the right reasons? Right. Mm-hmm. When I first bought Tidal, I was in a pretty rough place with that. I had an influencer account on social media, and I was becoming the gym DJ everywhere I was going. I was becoming this character instead of being Doug. Yeah. And I mean, went through some problems because of it, and through therapy, and my wife is an amazing human being to watch me go through it. And I mean, if anyone got the bad end of it was her, right? The ones who are closest to you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you learn how to act. You learn how to fool people into thinking that you've got it all figured out. And that's a lonely place, because you're not that person. You kind of understand where Robin Williams was. Like, I figured out how to make everybody love me, but that's an act. So do they really love me, or do they love
the character?
Yeah. And that's where that's where it gets dangerous, because eventually you can lose the real you and just become the character, and that will fall apart.
Yeah.
And it's something I struggle with every day.
Yeah.
Because I know you get in a position like me where I'm on stage with a microphone DJing. I'm in the middle of a room with a microphone coaching. I'm in videos. I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever. I know how to get people to like me. But am I doing it for the right reasons? And is it really me? Or am I putting on a character that they like? And for a long time, it was a character.
Yeah.
And it was a dangerous place. And so I get it, because then you go back to the man in the mirror moment. You're like, I don't even know who I am. I've lost every ounce of the real Doug, because I've become what everyone wants me to be, and what they like, and what they call me for, and what they text me for, and invite me to this and want me to do that. And it's lonely, and it's dangerous. And I think where I'm at now is a very, very healthy place where you're getting the real authentic me now. And thank God that that's who God wants me to be. And that is what has made my family better. It's made my businesses better. It's made my relationships with people better. Where when you're in that place is probably where the Robin Williams where Chester from Linkin Park, like you get to these places where you're like, if I'm not this person, no one will like me. No one will accept me. Praise God and his redemption that I'm the true authentic me, and most people are still okay with it.
Yeah.
Most, right? Like
Yeah.
I definitely lost some people. Some people were more interested in the hype of what I was doing, and now it's not about me anymore, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to find the real you, because it can get dangerous quick. And full circle, that's why Title exists, is to like, yeah, I just want to be here for fun. No, you don't. Like, why are you really here?
You got something deep inside that wants
Right.
to just shout out and be like, I'm here for this.
Yes, and like,
Yeah.
let's get there. Let's heal that. Let's be
Yeah.
a part of that. And that's the beautiful part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because, I mean, that just amazes me to where, I feel like, especially with myself, to where, like going to therapy, like I've already kind of somewhat, I guess you could say somewhat, whatever comes off the top of my head or whatever conversation is happening, it's mainly to keep myself in check. It's like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
Right.
Am I saying the right thing most of the time? How am I on a week to week basis of interacting with people, or
Sure.
How I'm, like you said, with the discipline and everything, and I had to have a heart to heart with myself on sort of discipline.
Sure.
With what was it, like one time I came into work late because I didn't want to wake up, right?
Yeah.
I think I was like up the night before too late, right? So, and have you ever noticed to where when you're hard on yourself, you hear your parents' voices? Like, it amazed me because I literally had my dad's voice
Oh yeah.
yelling at me in my head,
definitely
but
my
it was
dad,
me
too.
yelling at myself, being
Yeah.
like, Matthew, you're 26 years old.
Yeah.
Get your stuff together here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's like, and it just amazed me to where I was just like, okay, I'm hard. I feel like I'm really hard on myself.
Sure.
Like when it's like, I can be all laugh, joking and all that stuff. But when it comes down to serious stuff and to where I have to give myself a little kick in the tush.
Right.
Oh, I am my biggest critic, my biggest person to be like, this is why you did it, and
Right.
and just being very hard on myself.
Yeah. No grace.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To where it's like, it's almost like it's almost like I'm a kid again, and I'm getting the finger pointed down, like,
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and it just amazes me to where, like that discipline, to where it's like, okay, you know what you're supposed to do, be disciplined. It's better saying it than doing it,
So much. Yeah, one of the big things I live by is consistency outweighs motivation. Because discipline, when you build up a discipline and you create the routine and you create that, like, I do this every single day,
Yeah.
that's so much easier to stay on than I want to go to work. I want to wake up. Well, today I don't want to wake up. Today I want to stay in bed.
Right.
But if you're set every freaking day, I wake up, I go to the gym, I do this, you start to build that consistency. And especially if there's a community behind it, like, I don't know anybody you work with, but I've worked in places where I'm motivated to go see the people I work with.
Yeah.
And then I've been in places where I am not so motivated to go see the people I work with. And that can ebb and flow.
Yeah.
But when you have the community, those people you love to see, man, they're keeping you accountable, and you do the same thing every day. You get into that routine, you start to build a discipline, you're good. But if your I need to be disciplined is based on motivation and not consistency,
Yeah.
it's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
No, like you have a whole hot and ready the night before. That was wild.
Isn't that cool?
I hope that sounds as awesome in there as it does on here. It's like a gong just went. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have a consistency that you've built up, the community to go with it. That's pretty hard to break.
Yeah.
But if it's, well, I ate a hot and ready last night, I don't really want to go to the gym. If I don't go, nobody will know. All right, I'm going to sleep in. Oh, crap. Now I slept past my alarm. Now I'm late for work. There's a domino effect that happens.
Very much so. Yeah.
But if you keep that consistency up, man, so I work out with one of our coaches. His name is Maddie. If one of us doesn't show up at 6 a.m., there is a text of, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I slept through my alarm, couldn't sleep last night. There is a accountability there, but it's our routine. We're there every morning at 6 a.m. Neither one of us would probably ever be there at 6 a.m. if the other person wasn't being accountable.
Yeah.
So we've built up the routine. Every morning we're there. And then you add the accountability, game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
You know, it makes me think to where, like, my motivation now, like, compared to, like, when I was trying to gain weight for football.
Yeah.
And it was the good gain weight, too.
Yeah.
Granted, I was in the weight room 5 times a day, and I was eating amounts of proportions of food.
Yeah.
But I could put it away,
For sure.
you know, because I was going
There was
so
a goal.
hard at so hard in the weight room. And yeah, there was a goal. It was to start, because I hadn't started the year before when I was a junior, because there were so many seniors.
Sure.
So my goal was, I'm going to start my senior year.
Right.
I'm going to get as big as possible. Granted, I know I'm not the tallest, but I will be the strongest, and I
Sure.
will be the as solid as possible. So going in that after that season, like, I was ready. Like, granted, yeah, you said the community and everything, and it was also the coaches too that I was with that was really great. And, you know, granted, the guys that were there and stuff like that, but it was just, there was this fire in me that wanted that, because I had started playing all the years that I had played before, and then the fact that I couldn't start that
Sure.
year, not on anywhere, not on
Right.
defense, not on offense, not even on special teams,
Yeah.
and just standing on the sideline and just waiting for my name to be called,
Sure.
it was miserable.
Yeah.
So I had this fire in me to where I wanted to start so bad, and granted, I was doing everything possible, but it was clean.
Sure.
Peanut butter and jellies, chocolate milk, no protein powder, no creatine,
Right.
no steroids, nothing.
Right.
Straight clean. And it was just one time, it was like the workout thing that the coach had, and I was gaining weight, gaining muscle. Like, my brother says, like, I peaked in high school because I was so solid, but yet
Sure.
I didn't look out of shape, even
Yeah.
though my cardio was
Sure.
but still I was at least in that jock like football. I looked like
Yeah.
a football player.
Right.
And then I look at it now to where it's like, you know, starting January and February and March and everything, you're
Right.
like, I want to look like this by summer. It's like, okay. So you go to March, go to April, then May, it starts to get a little nicer, and then you're like, okay, I got the look that I want. Then what? You
Right.
know? And so,
There's a difference between motivation and a chip.
yeah.
You had a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Chips are dangerous.
Yeah.
They're short-lived,
Yeah.
but they're dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
He knew he was a great quarterback. He needed to change the scenery.
Yeah.
That man had a chip on his shoulder. He's like, I'm going to prove everybody that it wasn't just because I had Megatron and it wasn't just because I was in Detroit. I'm going to go win a Super Bowl, and I'm going to make you know that it was me that won that Super Bowl. A chip is dangerous.
Yeah.
When it's just that motivation, like you said, yeah, you might hit a goal, and then you're like, okay, now what? I'm going to take a few days off. Motivation is a scary, scary thing because it can be incredibly powerful, but it's fleeting. It goes away.
Yeah.
A chip is the same thing. It's just even more powerful.
Yeah.
Like a chip, there's a little bit of extra heat behind a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, and
than there is just daily motivation.
And what sucked, right? So here's the interesting part of that story, is I got to 200 pounds solid, right? Was stronger than I ever was. My squat was, what was it? It was 495. I had the highest squat of everybody, even like the most muscular running back that we had. I beat him out. I was just like,
What position were you going for?
guard.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I was small and I could hit and I was like fast, you know. But they put me at tackle because the way that we were playing it, I think it was like some type of option or whatever. But I always had to hook, right?
Sure.
And I had the best feet out of all the other linemen.
Sure.
So my coach put me at tackle. I'm like, you do realize I'm like 5'8", 5'9" on a good day, right? And I'm like 200 pounds.
Right.
I'm like, you need a 6'4", 7 foot,
Right.
400 pounder with decent feet.
Right.
I'm like, you're gonna put my little self on the end. So I was like, all right, if that's where you want me, I will play that position to the best of my ability. So we're doing different drills, and I was automatically on the starting team. As a senior, you automatically want to be a leader. I felt like in the off season, I felt like I was a leader because I was consistent. I was, pushing myself. I was pushing my teammates and everything. So I was like, okay. So first day of hitting happens, and I used to tape my wrists all the time, tape my hands, just because it wasn't even for like a certain, reason. I just thought it looked cool.
Sure.
And saw,
High school.
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah. Saw football players in the pros that did it, and I was like, oh yeah, they do it. And then, I remember I taped up, it almost looked like I was Triple H. I would tape up this whole hand,
right,
and then I would just do this wrist. And so it looked cool. I looked tough. I'm taped up,
High school.
The one day that I didn't get taped up, we're doing scout offense, first string defense, and nobody would step up to, play scout. So I thought, lead by example. Don't just yell at them. Lead by example. So I did. Even though I had a starting position.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, I did this scout offense all year last year. I was Rudy last year.
Sure. Right.
And I'm like, I got this. So me and one of the D linemen, him and I graduated together, and we, had played football with each other, and, we smack talk a little bit. He's like, oh, I'm going to spin move you. I'm like, I dare you.
Right.
Because I had that chip on my shoulder where I'm like, I'm gonna put you on the ground, and if you try to spin me, I'm gonna make you pay for it, kind of thing.
Right.
So he spins. Well, right when I went to adjust, the running back, there was somewhat of a hole, but yet the running back who ran the ball didn't get there in time to where there was that hole, and our D end was so fast coming off the line that he tackled the running back into me, and the running back's helmet went right into my wrist, pinning my wrist in between his shoulder pads and his helmet. Broke both my ulna and the radius. I was out majority of the season. My spot was taken by a sophomore, which even put more salt in the wound. Love the guy. He ended up going off and playing at Saginaw Valley, which, you know, him and his brother both.
Sure.
Happy for them. Love the family. But when you're a senior and you have your spot taken by a sophomore,
Right.
it doesn't matter if you like the kid or not. It's just a salt in the wound.
Brutal.
And so
Brutal.
not only did I have to go through the healing process, thank God I didn't have to do surgery. If I had to do surgery, I was out the whole entire season.
Right.
So I had to do the healing process, physical therapy. I couldn't even learn the plays because they were so far ahead to when we first started.
Sure.
So because I had to leave early to go to the physical therapy, even though I went to every practice
Right.
in a full-on cast and everything. So then I became back to where I was at junior year, to where I was on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I was camera boy, you know, all that stuff. As a senior, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
It's the worst.
Yeah. Thank God for playoffs, though, because we played against Dakota.
There you go.
And it was the first half, and something had happened to our guard. This guy, he was always left guard. I was always right guard, and it just worked out that way. Well, he had hurt his ankle. He was playing on one foot, and so he's limping off every time. And it's halftime, and I'm talking to him. I'm like, you're hurt. He goes, yeah, I know. I go, you're playing on one foot out there, and it's not looking good at all. Not just from your standpoint, but from the team standpoint.
Right.
Like, you're being that weak link there. And he's like, yeah. I was like, I'm like, selfishly, but yet non-selfishly, I'm like, let me go in for you. I was like, I haven't played all season. I'm like, let me go in for you. I'm like, you've played all season and everything. I'm like, let me take your spot. And he goes, all right. So we called my offensive line coach, and he's like, Sims is going in for me. He goes, I'm done. He's like, I'm playing on one foot out there. He goes, I'm sucking. I'm like, he's in. He goes, but Sims doesn't know the playbook. I go, that's okay. I got a man to my left and I got a man to my right that have my back. I'm like, if I need to know pass, I can easily pass rush, or I can easily pass block. If it's run, just tell me who I'm hitting.
Right.
You know, it's not that hard. You know.
Yeah.
And so they're like, all right, well, I got to talk to coach. So we talked to the head coach, and pretty much he just comes down to it, and he comes over and he goes, can't. He goes, can't. He goes, Sims is in. I'm done. And so he goes, okay. So I played that whole second half on both sides of the ball.
Holy smokes. Yeesh.
Yeah.
Well, thank God.
Yeah.
your
And ended up getting a
cardio
touchdown off
was
of that.
At least okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, you got a touchdown?
No. I helped do a touchdown.
Oh.
It was a pass play.
I was going to say, what happened?
So there was a pass play, and I think it was like, what was it? It was something I think it was where either a quarterback or one of the other running backs dropped back, threw the pass, and I think we were on like the 30, right? And I'm going against this 7'4", 400-something pound guy. I'm like, all I got to do is just hold him for a few seconds.
Sure.
And if he jumps, taking him out.
Right.
Right? Yeah, it's going to suck if he lands on me, but we're going to make it happen.
We got to win.
Yeah. So I'm going against this guy. I'm like, I can get it. I can get this guy. So all of a sudden, I go, all right, we're in the huddle. We break, and I lean over to the tackle, and I go, pass block. I go, pass block, all right? He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm like, all right, I know what I'm doing. So the play happens, and I'm pass blocking the best of my ability on this guy, trying to not have him budge through. And all of a sudden, the ball releases, and I can see it. And the guy tries to jump, and I, give him a little elbow or something like that below, and he goes down, and I just see the ball soaring. And then one of my longtime buddies, Dominic Fiscelli, he ended up playing college ball at 2 different colleges, and now he plays in the Canadian League.
Nice.
But we've been playing since we were 12.
Right.
So I just see the ball just going towards him, and then he catches it and runs in the end zone. I'm like, oh my gosh, I helped score a touchdown. I'm like, I haven't done that all year.
I'm back.
Oh, it was awesome. And I said something about that in my senior speech at the banquet. But yeah, oh man. But yes, you're absolutely right on that chip. The chip on my shoulder. I would say I had 2 chips. The one before the season, and then the one during it.
Right.
To get better and to try and get back to where I was.
But as an adult, there's not many times in life where
that you have a chip on your shoulder, right?
So that's where building consistency and discipline can't have motivation attached to it,
right?
Because motivation fleets too easily.
I mean, the best example that I could say is like after a breakup.
Maybe you got passed over in a promotion at work.
Maybe, yeah.
But both of those scenarios are temporary. You're trying to build a lifestyle of healthy, right?
Yeah.
And that's especially with the gym, like. I mean, we can talk business. Yeah, the longer a member stays on the books, more money we make.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's if a member is there for 3 months or 3 years, who do you think is the healthier member?
Right.
Right? The one who gained consistency over 3 years, that's a lifestyle at that point.
Yeah.
That's where money is made. That's where lives are changed. A chip on your shoulder doesn't give you a 3-year, like, I figured this out.
Yeah.
Like, this is who I am now. Or we have members that have been there for 8 years.
Yeah.
And they're not many of them don't look like they've been there for 8 years. I mean, they all look healthy. They look better.
Yeah.
Because they found that consistency. They found that motivation doesn't land. Motivation is cool for a week. It's cool for January. It's cool to the first week of February is historically one of the worst months in the gyms across the country. Because that's when
and after New Year's.
Right. Yeah. It's like, well, my New Year's resolution was great. And after the 3rd week of January, they're like, never mind. So February, they're like, why am I spending this money? I'm out. How can you get past that?
Yeah.
January, that's your little chip. That's your motivation. Like, new year, new me.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So find the consistency. Find the reason why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Going back to the psychology, why are you there? Why do you show up? Because some mornings you're going to have to remind yourself. Alarm goes off and you're like, no, I don't want to go. But I know if I skip today, I'll skip tomorrow, and then I'll skip Thursday, and then, okay, I'm getting back up.
Yeah.
It's consistency.
Yeah, I get that. So, but besides we've been talking about, the weddings and the gym and everything, but like, you're also a family man. You are now a father of 2, right?
Father of 2.
Father of 2.
Yep. My son is 2. He turned 2 in February. And my daughter turns 4 in 2 weeks.
Oh, man. Well, happy early birthday to her.
She is 4 going on 24.
Yeah, that good, huh?
Oh, my gosh.
That independence.
Incredibly strong, incredibly smart. And when I say strong, I mean strong-willed. Oh, my goodness. My kids are funny, though, man. They're so cute. But, yes, family man it's a hard balance, especially as an entrepreneur. Very hard balance. Because I know I have to provide for my family. I'm also providing for 8 other families. And it's all on me. If I'm selling insurance for somebody else, like, well, yeah, they find the leads, I just sell them. They do this, I just do my job. It's all on me. If the gym fails, it's me. It's not because the people that are there. It's because of me. So you have the weight of the business, and you have the weight of your family. And then you have the weight of, if this fails, so does this.
Yeah.
And if this fails, there's no point in this. So it's crazy. It's a balance that I have not figured out. I'm the furthest from having the answers. But that's where good mentors, therapy, open communication with your wife. But the blessing of all of it is me and my wife do all of it together. She runs both businesses behind the scenes. So I'm the annoying one on the mic. She's the one making sure everybody actually gets paid and schedules work and contracts are filled out and taxes are being paid and all the stuff that I suck at. She's so good at. But she would never want a microphone, so it works.
That makes so much sense why I was like, I want you both on here. And you're like, how about just me?
Yeah, she won't. No. She probably has. I know she has so much to add,
Yeah.
and it would be brilliant, and it'd be great. And she's so brilliant and so intelligent, but this would terrify her. She is not
It sometimes
the mic person.
it sometimes does terrify people to
Yeah.
where it's like I hit record and there's like, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take the lead. Yeah, right. To where like I have to crank up the gain,
Right.
And I'm like, all right, either move it close or I'm gonna crank it up to where it's
Exactly.
to where it's like you can hear you like chatter your teeth.
I will say from a mic perspective, this is weird for me because I'm used to either A, it's attached to my face,
Yeah.
or when I'm holding a mic for DJing, I literally have it touching my chin.
Yeah.
So like that's why I keep having to lean forward because I like want to sit back here, and well, that doesn't work. So yeah.
That's why whenever I move, I try and bring it with me.
Right.
But I mean, in this sort of sense, like doing radio, I tried to do it, but it didn't look good on camera. Oh my god. So when it comes to on camera, it didn't look good because I'm so used to having it like just hanging over and then being in the corner of my mouth.
Sure.
But now I can do it to where it's like this. It looks good on camera. You can see my beautiful face.
Right.
And I can still have it in the corner of my mouth, which
Sure.
helps with the T's and the P's and the S's. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah. So
Rules.
with the her being in the background and everything, like
Yeah.
you guys are a dynamic duo,
Absolutely.
and like were you guys always like that? To where like when you guys
Yeah,
first started
so-
like being together and
When we started dating, it was very clear our dynamics and what she was brilliant at and what I was okay at. And it's kind of from day one was the structure of our relationship was I'm the obnoxious crazy one, but everyone always trusts and has this like deep sense of security with her where they knew if I had a task, they could hand me the mic. But they knew if they needed an event to run properly, as long as she was planning it, we were good. I'm not a planner. I'm a doer.
yeah.
She's a planner. So from serving at church to whatever, like, yeah, Doug's on stage doing the crazy, but like, it's because Erica has the foundation laid. So yeah, I would say that's been a big part of our relationship since the beginning. We didn't go full time, both of us, until after our daughter was born. So she was working at a dental office and kind of running the background of the photography and DJ business. And I was DJing or selling insurance or working at the church or whatever. It's after our daughter was born that I had bought the gym and we had decided like, okay, let's do this 100% together and like throw security out the window, throw the guaranteed paycheck out the window. Let's just bet on ourselves and our strengths and weaknesses. And I think it's something that she doesn't necessarily see as much where, and we've talked about it. She is a value that I can never describe and she doesn't always see that. And so it's never been, I'm just betting on me because I'll always bet on myself.
Yeah.
But when we were talking about buying the gym, I was like, I 100% need you. Like, I can't do this alone.
Yeah.
This has to be us. Like, I need you on board. And as soon as she said she would come on board, it was like a no-brainer. Like, full confidence, zero doubt in my mind with the second gym and putting a massive amount of loans, and our home is going to be out, like all this danger, right? Like that could happen if it fails.
Yeah.
I know, left to my own devices, I'll do okay if I have her, guaranteed, no question. It'd be like LeBron and Steph in their prime being on the same team. It's like, well, yeah, of course, like they're gonna win.
Yeah.
Like LeBron will dominate physically, Steph will dominate shooting. Like there's no weakness there.
Correct.
It's guaranteed. That's how we operate.
Yeah.
Where I end, she begins. Where she ends, I begin. And it's just this perfect dynamic. It doesn't come without its struggles. I mean, we have this fairy tale in mind of like, well, we own a business, so we make our own schedules and we do all this stuff together. Well, our jobs are so vastly different that even if we're sitting in a coffee house working together, nothing that we're doing is actually together. Because
You guys are just physically together.
physically we're in the same room, right? It's a Wednesday at 1 p.m. and we're at a coffee house. I'm sipping a smoothie, she's got her coffee, and like we're together. But it's not like we're sitting there going like, okay, so what are we going to do with this? And what are we... Those conversations don't happen near as much as people would think.
Right.
It's so much like, I have this half of the business that I have to operate. You have this half of the business that you have to operate. So it's an interesting dynamic, but it's perfect. It really is. It comes with its challenges when you're always together. We go on a date and it's like,
You guys talk work.
what else do we have to talk about? Like, we're always together. So we talk about the kids a little bit. We talk about work, and then it's like, but no.
Have you guys come up with like certain topics that you guys have thought of, or like, hey, I saw this thing?
I think the craziest thing is, and I think I discovered this in this past month, is we need to be better at dating. And I don't mean in like what we do on the dates. Like, we went to Colorado just for our 10-year anniversary. We just celebrated 10 years of marriage, and we hardly talked about work at all. And it was the first time in a few years where we didn't leave a date going, can we get together once and not talk about work? Like, we were gone for 5 or 6 days, and outside of one half of a day where we actually went to another title boxing in Colorado, we didn't talk about work hardly at all. And I think what I realized is we just need to date more. Mm-hmm. Because when it's short increments, it's that half a day in Colorado. It's the half a day at that title. If we go on a 3-hour date, well, that's a short amount of time. But if we go on weekly or monthly dates, well, that creates an opportunity to get into the stuff that we don't get into on a regular basis. Because on that date, that might have been the first time that day that we really had alone time. And of course, we have 8,000 work conversations that we want to have. So I think we just need to date more and date better. But it's that blessing and curse at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
I would not want to do work and business and run these companies with anyone but her. But at the same time, we kind of envy a little bit of what some people go through, where it's like, well, how was your day today? We don't get to have those conversations
Because I know what your day was like.
Exactly. Like, we were together. But
Man, my work wife, she's looking good.
yeah, my work wife is literally my wife. But no, it's a blessing and a curse. But I would say the blessing is 90 and the curse is 10. I mean, it far, far outweighs anything. And we had the discussion of like, should one of us get a normal job and like create some distance to be able to enjoy the time together more?
To have the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, and it was such a quick no, just because of how amazing our lives really are. Like, we take our kids to doctor's appointments together, and I drive my daughter to school, and like half the time it's her, half the time it's me. Sometimes we do it together, and we throw our son in the Jeep too, and we all go. Like, we have a dynamic where we can kind of do whatever we want whenever we want to. But the flip coin of that is it's 10 o'clock at night and we're watching like the one show we watch, and she's on her laptop doing the schedule and payroll, and I'm on my laptop responding to emails. Like, we are always working, but we're always not at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, when you're doing life together the way we do it, it never really feels like a job. Her side does a little bit, because payroll, there's no really like happy way to do payroll and like scheduling, but
You get the fun part about it.
yeah. Well, so, and that's an interesting thing though, right? So like, you say, like, well, Doug has the fun part. Mm. For me, it is.
Yeah.
For you, it would be very similar. Like, hand you a mic and you're like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
This would terrify her. This would not be fun at all.
Right.
She would be like, when can I go home?
Right.
So for her, my side of the business it's the flashy side.
Yeah.
It's not the fun side.
Yeah.
For me, it's fun. For her, oh God, no. But for her, like, scheduling and the puzzle pieces and all that, like,
She likes to make her brain work, whereas
Yeah,
you like to make your mouth work.
Exactly. She's good at that stuff. And so for her, like, she's like, there's not a ton of value here. And I'm like, what you do in an hour would take me a month. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so much value in it.
Yes.
And so I think for the two of us, just like we're growing in that too, is appreciating each other and what we do in our jobs, and also appreciating the fact that I don't want a darn thing to do with her job and she don't want a darn thing to do with mine. And there's so much value to that.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to go, well, Doug's got the flashy job. He's the one on stage. He's the one on the mic. He's the one that's in the pictures. And I just got this Lululemon ambassadorship. Like, Doug gets his picture on the wall. Like, that's cool. And it's a blessing. But none of that exists without hers.
Yeah.
And she's back at a dental office if mine doesn't exist. So there is this like,
Without her, I am nothing kind of thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And that is the downfall of people like me, who I'm not a good admin. I am terrible at writing emails, and even my texts have 30 typos. Like, I'm useless to the world without a lot of help, where Erica is useful to everyone all the time.
She can make it more professional. And
She is, her value is, like scripture says, far beyond diamonds. Like,
Ooh.
far beyond diamonds. And I just hope she knows that.
she will now. So, Erica, if you're watching,
Are
you
listening
know it
to the
now.
podcast?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, she's the best, man. And she's hilarious, and most people don't get to see that side unless she lets them in, but she's so funny and so easy to work with. My staff is obsessed with her. They all call her the boss, not me. I'm just the loud one. She's the one in charge.
Is it because, like, what is it? It's almost like the theater mask or something like that, to where, like, you're the happy one and she's the very serious one?
No, she's an introvert. So
I could kind of get what you were saying when you were describing her.
She's an introvert. So
Yeah.
it takes a minute for her to get comfortable, but it is funny where I can make people fall in love with me quickly. Like,
The
that's
charisma. and-
it's not a pride thing. It's just like, I know how human nature, like, I'm obsessed with humans.
Yeah.
I know how to say the right things, do the right things to get people to be like, oh, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Where her, she don't care. She's like, I don't need to impress these people. But when somebody is allowed into her circle, immediately I am notched down about 30 notches, and Erica is here. And everyone's like, well, Erica runs the show. She's queen. Like, all of our friend groups, they call her mom because she's just like, everyone loves her. They adore her. They value her so much.
And you're just the fun uncle.
I'm just the big dumb idiot with a microphone. But yeah, I view her value so high, and she views me like the big dumb. I'm just kidding. She doesn't think I'm a big dumb idiot. No, but she's remarkable, and people are, when they get to know her, they're obsessed with her, and it's fun to watch. My staff is obsessed with her. They freaking love her. And it's awesome.
You know, it brings me a memory of meeting Erica for the first time. It was at the church. I think it was in Marine City.
Yeah, probably at the warehouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where it was. And meeting her for the first time, and I was just like, all like, oh, it's so great to meet you. And she's like, mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's
She was very quiet, very hard. Like, it was like I'm like so enthusiastic, and I'm just so excited to meet her and heard so much about her, blah blah blah. Because, you know, I think before that we were all in the men's group together, so we would talk about her a lot. And so hearing good things about her, I was like, oh, it's so great to meet you finally. I've heard so many great things about you. She's like, haven't heard likewise.
She's quiet, man. She's shy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Which I get. I mean, doesn't that make things more valuable too? Like, if something's just easy to get, like for me, it's easy to get my attention. It's easy to get me to have a conversation.
I was going to say, what was that like trying to get her phone number?
100%. She denied me the first time. Blew me off. Blew me off. And then like 2 weeks later, I approached her again, and she didn't know that I was the same guy. She didn't know that I had tried once until like months later when I brought it up. Yeah, it was wild. I picked her up by inviting her to church.
Smart.
Use the Jesus card. Lord forgive me. But yeah, I sat down with her. I was the only one in this room at Oakland University. I was the only one in the cafeteria, and her friend had sat down, and I just invited them to church, and that sparked a conversation. And then her friend was doing Spanish work, and I needed a Spanish tutor. So like that kept the conversation going. But then they showed up that night. They came out to church with us. It was this thing called The Gathering. It was a young adult ministry. And it sparked from there. I mean, I called it out beforehand. I told my buddy Rob, that was a Thursday night. The previous Monday, so before that, I'd pointed her out. I said, "You see that girl?" He's like, "Yes, I'm gonna marry that girl." He's like, "Okay, whatever." And then she shows up. Her and her friend are the only people in this massive student hall. And I was like, "Here we go. It's game time." And went in, invited them to church. That was Thursday. Friday night, she came to the venue I was running at the time out in Lake Orion. By Saturday morning, we went to P.F. Chang's for lunch, and we were officially boyfriend and girlfriend. That fast.
Wow.
And then a year and 2 months later, we were engaged, and a year and a half after that, we were married. I was 23. She was 22.
Yeah.
Babies.
Yeah.
Babies. We've been married 10 years. I don't feel old enough to be married for 10 years. I also don't feel old enough to be at parent-teacher conferences, but we went to those for the first time this year.
What was that like?
One, they were great because my daughter is like, she's so smart and she's so outgoing. I don't know where she gets it.
Both of you.
Yeah, she's smart like her mom and she's psycho like me. So that was cool, but it was like I'm looking at the teachers and I'm like, we're the same age. This is weird.
Oh, you should try going and being like, you're younger than me. It will happen quickly because she's at like a Christian preschool, and so they're our age. But yeah, we're gonna get into like elementary teachers are like 24. And I'll be like, I don't trust you. Yeah, because my brother is 23 and he just got his student teacher. He's going to be doing it at CHIP.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So he's going to be doing that Spanish student teaching. I believe that's what it is. But he's 23 and he's already doing student teaching. It's like,
it's weird, man. I have teachers that go to our gym and I'm like, you're a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I don't feel old enough to be married for 10 years. And I mean, marriage is amazing. It's hard. It's rewarding. It's all of the emotions are one thing in marriage. But then you throw kids into it. Kids are crazy. They are the best joy you'll ever experience in your life. And you somehow still want to just scream at the same time.
I wonder how that feeling is. to where like have
ask
you
your parents?
I've been told this multiple times and I still don't know the feeling. To where it's like, like my mom will be like, I love you with all my heart, but sometimes I want to just strangle you.
The old joke is, I brought you into this world, I can take you out.
Take you out,
another
exactly.
one looks just like you.
Exactly. And another thing is like the feeling to where I mean I understand like you have a love, like love is such a big word,
massive.
Like it's like you love your wife, you love your kids, you love your parents, and you love your friends. I think I already said that. Never mind. Anyway, so there's different types of love. The love that you have for your wife is a type of love that is unconditional and everything like that. But then when you have a kid, it's like it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah. It is. You, in the most respectful and beautiful way, like I choose to love my wife every day and she chooses to love me. And I mean, obviously that's why there's divorce and that's why there's pain and this and that. With your kids, there's this, they're literally a part of you. Like they share your DNA.
Yeah.
There's just something different that there is no matter what you do, nothing will stop me from loving you. And not to get too spiritual, like it really truly makes you feel like you kind of understand a little bit of God's love, where it's like, well, nothing we can do will separate us from God's love. Well, I could go out and piss my wife off, cheat on her, walk out, whatever, and she could easily, over time, remove all of her love from me, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But when it's your kid, and obviously my kids are 2 and 4, I haven't experienced them doing really bad things
To
yet.
where here's the line,
Right.
and they're tiptoeing
Exactly.
on it.
Like you don't. I grew up with kids who are now in prison, and like, but you see it on Instagram and YouTube or whatever, like parents that are sitting in court when their kids have done something wrong, and they still are like fighting for their kid.
Yeah.
Like, like, yeah, if I found out my wife was like a crazy drug dealer and like murdered 3 people, it'd be pretty easy for me to be like, wow, okay, I think it's time for us to move on. But like when it's your kid, it's different.
Yeah.
It's so different. Holding your kids for the first time, you're like, wow, this is a different type of love. There's no, you use the word unconditional. There is nothing that I wouldn't do to save your life. There isn't, like, I would kill for you. And it's no question.
Yeah. Because I'm sure you had said that. Like, I love my wife so much, I would kill for her.
Right.
But then you have a kid, and you're like, okay.
Right.
It's like,
Absolutely.
I would actually use her as a shield.
Right, exactly. Like, I think there's a comedian who says that. He's like, once I held my daughter, I realized that I would use my wife as a human shield. And
Yes.
and it's nothing to take away from my love for my wife. Like, she would agree. Like,
Yeah.
there's just something different about kids, and that translates into everything you do. Like we talked about, if Tidal fails, my kids fail. Like, my kids don't eat. If I didn't have kids, well, me and Erica can get creative and figure out a way for her and I to be okay. Well, it's harder to get creative for kids. Like, that's their livelihood.
Right.
There's just a different motivation.
You both
behind
could move
why you
somewhere
do what you
else,
do.
but then you're
Right.
pulling the kids out of the school district and everything.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I'm responsible for their life. I'm
Yeah.
responsible that they are living to see tomorrow. And it's just different, man. But yeah, there's an obsession there too, where you're just like, I literally will scroll through my phone and it looks like I'm scrolling through Instagram. And I'm scrolling through my pictures of my kids through photos on the iPhone. You know, it's just, and they do funny things. And like half of Erica and I's conversations are like the goofy things that Ashton did today, or like the funny thing Beckett said today, or just knowing what song makes them dance now and like watching them dance in the kitchen. Like, there's just little stuff that when you're 25, just got married, and you're like, that's not even on your radar. And now it's every time I come in contact with someone, I'm like, look at my kids, aren't they cute? Like, that one looks just like me, that one looks like her mom. Like, it's just funny, man. But it is the joy of everything I do.
Yeah.
I sell a membership. It's like, all right, my kids get to eat today. It's not literally that touchy, but
But in a way, you're just like, awesome. I'm doing what I'm supposed to.
yeah, man.
And providing for my kids.
It is. Yeah. It's life's biggest responsibility and biggest honor at the same time.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that, to where it's like when you're 25 and it's like not like, granted, do I want kids? Absolutely. But
Sure.
spending like a few days at my cousin's house and spending a day with a 4-year-old, I'm like, maybe I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to be sitting in a small chair for hours and playing Barbies or cooking fake food.
I know a lot of people who have said this phrase. I am obsessed with my kids and only my kids. It's different when they're your kids.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, granted, love my cousin to death, and it's so much fun because it's like she looks at me and is like, let's make brownies or let's make cookies or whatever. We're cutting Play-Doh into like, the cookie shape, whatever. And it's fun. But doing it for hours and hours and hours, I'm like,
that part is still not fun.
Yeah.
I will tell you.
I'm
It's
like,
still not oh, I love them, so I could do the exact same thing for 12 hours straight and be okay. No, you're still like, can we do something else?
yeah.
This is awful.
I'm literally like, it was so funny. We were making brownies, and it was like mixture of like white with pink next to each other, Play-Doh. And like when I was a kid, mix it up.
Yeah.
That's the whole part of the
And now
imagination.
as an
part of
adult,
it.
you're like, stop.
As,
No.
as an adult, you're like, you're gonna ruin it. You're gonna ruin your white, and then you're gonna not so much ruin the pink, but you're gonna ruin the whites.
It's like when you had yearbooks and when you were kids and you were putting mustaches on people and your parents were like, stop ruining the yearbook. You're going to be so mad. Now you open the yearbook as an adult and you're like, dang it.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, like what was it like? Oh yeah, that I had a couple of those to where it's like somebody like drew. This was like junior high yearbook. So what happens in your junior high is they are very immature. So one kid on the inside of the fold part, somebody drew a penis or something like that.
Yeah, and it like ruins the whole thing. You're
Yeah,
like,
and then you flip back and you're just like, I got a penis in the book. As an adult, you're like, very mature kids, very mature.
But at the time, you're like, that was funny.
Yeah, or like, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
it is funny how the Play-Doh thing is great. Like, no, you're going to ruin it.
Yeah.
We were kids are like,
Yeah.
ruin
Or
what?
or
It's
like you
Play-Doh.
leave it outside, or you leave it out too long, and it starts to get hard, and like as an adult, you're like freaking out. You're like, that's savable. Put it away. Put it away. And then as a kid, you're just like, it'll be part of a sculpture,
Right.
or whatever.
Exactly.
It'll be smashed into the rug. Who knows?
It's true too.
God.
Play-Doh's everywhere in our house.
Like I feel bad for my parents and how much Play-Doh we went through.
Yeah, I didn't do a ton of Play-Doh. I did Legos. Legos and Power Ranger toys and figurines were just everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
The amount of times my parents probably stepped on Legos and didn't tell me. God bless their souls.
Or what was it? The Lincoln Logs.
Yeah. Yep.
I had fun with my Lincoln Logs. That was some fun stuff. But
I had those at my grandma's house. It was great.
oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just amazing to see because it's like I was talking to my friend Melanie about this. I'm like, I feel bad. I'm like, I want to like I love kids, but I don't know. I'm like, you're never ready for kids.
No.
You're never ready, and I know that. And it's like, and I love my cousin's daughter so much to where it's like the joy that is like when I get there, like the joy on her face is amazing. And the fact that she wants to play with me and everything, it's like, that's awesome. But then it's like, what is it? It's like the playing with her for a few hours or, you know, enjoying a kid's movie. Like we watched Daddy Daycare.
That's a great film.
I love that movie.
Great movie.
I need to put that on my favorites list.
Yeah.
Because my cousin and I, we were dying laughing. And then, of course, her daughter would
Eddie
laugh
Murphy.
because we laughed. And it was a pretty, you know, it was mainly physical comedy.
Right.
But still, you know, we watched the movie and she's like, oh, I'm tired. And we're just like, we're almost done with the movie.
Yeah, their
There's still
attention
more.
span is short,
oh my
man.
gosh. And her and I are just like, we'll go to sleep there. We're going to enjoy the rest of this movie.
They're dying to watch something. You turn it on. 30 seconds later, they're doing something else. I'm like,
Yeah.
why did I just turn this on?
Right.
All the time. Yeah, get
Yeah.
ready for that.
Yeah.
That's
So it's like,
that's a normal
and
occurrence.
she's like, well, you're also not used to having parent life. You're used to
Right.
having bachelor with a cat.
Freedom life.
Yeah.
Right.
A bachelor life to where it's like you come and go as you please.
Right.
You know,
Where is your cat, by the way?
In my room.
I saw the cat food. I'm like, I have not
In my room.
seen a cat around.
so I was vacuuming before you got here. And
Which I appreciate because I'm allergic to cats and it hasn't bothered me.
dope.
Yeah. Thank you
Love
for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, so I vacuumed, and then every time I turn on the vacuum, she goes and hides, and it's mainly underneath my bed. So
Gotcha.
she's in there, and it's gonna stay there until you leave. So,
Works for me.
but yeah. So I mean, all in all, like I was saying before, you know, living the bachelor life, and then just, you know, not have any like certain responsibilities. Like you said, like if you mess up, you can easily find something else
Right.
and then not worry about it. Same thing with me. Like if it comes down to where I have to give my cat, as sad as it is, I can do that.
Yeah.
As strong as a bond as we have, I can easily do that.
Right.
But when you have a kid, it's totally different.
No. Right. It's just, but it's beautiful, man. It's like I said, it's the best responsibility I've ever been given. And I'm responsible for my family, but I have full-time employees where if the business fails tomorrow, like they're on unemployment.
Yeah.
They might not be able to pay their bills. Like that's a heavy responsibility, but it's still not mine. Like that's still up to them to figure out. That's the American workplace. It could all change tomorrow. If everything gets shut down, I still have the responsibility to take care of these children. It doesn't matter what jobs are in front of me. They will. I can't just be like, oh yeah, figure it out. All right, Beckett, go get a job. Like, go make money. Go make your food. Ashton,
They did it in the 20s. You can do it now.
right. Ashton, you can't say full sentences. You can hardly say half your words, but like, go make your dinner. You can't. So that's it. It's a crazy responsibility. And my wife is 10 times better at it than I am, but it's still the biggest honor, the biggest headache, but the biggest honor ever.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Now, is there a certain thing to where like you're the disciplinarian, or she's the loving one, or vice versa, or is it you guys are a tag team to where that comes to it?
More so tag team, but I'm definitely the harder one for sure. Yeah, she's naturally women are more nurturing, and so when they're going through something, they go to mommy.
Yeah.
When they just want to be roughhousing and crazy, they come to me.
Oh yeah.
But when something is going wrong and they're losing it, I'm typically the one to like, I'm the harder one, the disciplinary, take them into a different room, have a hard conversation. Now, my wife is great at it, but there's something about a relationship between their kid and their father where there's a little, not more or less respect, a different respect.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it a lot with my son, who's only 2. I mean, he hardly speaks, but there's a connection there. I can pull him into a different room and get him to look me in the eye, and we can calm him down and get him to a place where he's back to normal. With my wife, he doesn't do that as often. There's psychology behind that too, where the mother's nurturing nature to their kids is what makes the kids the most comfortable to be 100% their authentic self, which is beautiful. But it also means that if they're feeling emotion, they're going to feel it 100% with their mom, no matter what she says. So if they are stressed out, annoyed, sad, angry, hungry, whatever, they don't have the filter to say, I'm hungry, but I'm not going to scream with their mom. With me, they know if they scream, I'm not going to give them food. So they have the filter that's different, that they have to somehow appease dad. And that's like psychological, that we've done research. We haven't done the research.
You've done the research.
We experience the research every day.
That too.
But we've read the research on how kids handle their moms opposed to their dads.
Yeah.
And God bless the moms out there, because they don't get an emotional break with their kids, because their kids are 100% on all the time with the moms, and the dads get like the fun, goofy kids who don't cry all the time and don't scream and don't have all the emotion. They just have the fun side. And we experience it. It's wild. My kids won't cry for my wife left on a vacation with her siblings, and my kids like didn't cry for 3 days. Within 30 minutes of my wife being home, they were both screaming bloody murder. And it's like, thank God the research has been done, because like my wife was taking it personally. She's like, man, they're just so like crazy around me. Right. And it's actually the exact opposite. It should be, she feels some sense of like, well, I'm doing it right, because they feel so comfortable with me that they lose all facades.
To where it's like immediately, if they're gonna cry, run to mom, and
correct.
But there's no running to dad.
There's so much more safety and security for their emotions with their mom.
Yeah.
And that's not just our household. That's just how kids naturally handle things.
One thing that I noticed is, with talking with my cousin who has a 4-year-old, it was very interesting, because I'm like, you're a single mom. I'm like, yes, your boyfriend who you've been dating for a very long time lives with you guys, and he's stepping up as that father figure, but yet he's still trying to figure it out.
Sure.
You know, whereas you've been mom 100% of the time since she was born. I'm like, how exactly do you like parent? And she's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, say she's having an attitude and she is trying to let out her emotions and everything. She goes, well, here's the cool thing. She'll say, I'm going to my room. She'll go in her room and then say, Mom, I'm ready to talk.
Right.
And then she goes, I'll come in her room and she'll explain to me how she feels. And she goes, and I'll educate her and how to teach her how to work through those as you grow and everything like that. Is that the same kind of dilemma? Granted, because she's a single mom and you guys are a dynamic duo, how does that work out with when it comes to like a dynamic duo in that kind of situation?
It's so situational. Like right now with my son, who's getting to be more verbal, when he's having his meltdowns, the bond that him and I have is the fastest way to get him back to normal.
Especially like, is he in the terrible twos, I'm guessing?
Oh yeah. He's become full boy in the last 6 months, where he just punches and throws everything, and he's just wild and jumps on everybody, and he bites things, and he's just he went from like super shy, quiet little snuggle bug to like full boy, and just pants off running around the house. And he's just full boy.
You're like, that's my boy.
He's becoming more like me every day. No, like him and I have this cool dynamic where most of the time I can talk him down. With our daughter, it is situational. There are times where she wants her mom. There are times where she wants her dad. And she's learning her emotions. She's learning what she wants to adjust her emotions. And I would say more often than not, she leans towards mom. And Erica has a really, really good relationship with our daughter where they get through most things. But kids, they are not, there's no textbook that will tell you how to operate. I mean, there's millions of them, but none of them are right all the time. It's not X's and O's. It's not like we were talking earlier where you can predict human behavior. When they're children, they haven't figured out who they are yet.
Yeah.
There is no predicting them.
Which I bet that drives you nuts.
Oh yeah.
For a guy that reads people for a living, pretty much.
It's like Ashton's losing his mind, and what has worked the last 5 times doesn't work this time. I'm like, what do I do? Like, what's wrong? There's something wrong. Take him to the hospital. There's something wrong. Like, no, he's just crying. I'm like, yeah, but this worked every single time. Why is it not working right now? Yeah, it does. It's hard.
It's like a certain face would make him laugh, and that face is not making him laugh anymore.
I am very impatient, and for as much as I'm always like the happy energy guy in the room, I am very quick tempered, and I'm a hothead. So when my kids do something, I am the disciplinary. I'm the first one to just like bite their heads off when I shouldn't, right? My wife is the polar opposite. She's so much more calm and gracious and let's talk about it. And I'm just like, no, shut up. Don't do that. Not the right way to do things.
Would you say, who do you like, have you ever noticed to where when you're parenting, do you ever be like, oh, wow, that was my mom or that was my dad?
I'm my dad. And me and my dad are very, very, very close. And his dad was the ultimate hothead. Then my dad is a very good hothead. And I feel like I'm not as, like, it's slowly gotten better. So I'm hoping that by the time it gets to Ashton, that he's like not a hothead. And then I've like calmed it down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see the same, like all the things my dad used to say or do or whatever. I'm like already planning their lives like my dad planned mine. Like, yeah, you should go to college. You should do this. You should do that. I'm like already planning their futures. And I'm like, well, yeah, Ashton's going to play Major League Baseball. Of course he is. So like, this is the path. And like, he can't throw more than 4 feet yet. So it's like, I have to like calm down and bring it back. And like, they're going to mess up a million times. They're 2 and 4 years old. It's not my job to just attack and like, you need to be perfect now. And yeah, that's where I am like, my wife is very patient and gracious and I am not.
Yeah. So when that, like when certain things like that happen, does she like pull you aside and be like, no?
Yeah. And I think that's something that is beautiful about our marriage is from the get, we've always said, like, we don't fight in front of our friends and we don't fight in front of our kids. And if I'm doing something parenting wise that you disagree with, as much as you'll hate it, wait until I'm done. And then we'll talk about it later. Obviously, I'll never do something that's going to danger or put our kids in danger. Like if I was hitting our kids, yeah, step in and knock me out. My wife can throw. Let me tell you, she has some nasty hands.
From the bag or from personal experience?
From boxing. Tiger boxing.
Like she accidentally swung on you when she was on a boxing, like one of those punching bag machines.
She's never hit me out of emotion.
I was gonna say like one of those punching bag machines that like gives you a certain score, and like she missed.
No. She's almost missed hitting the bag when I'm holding it for her, but I think that was intentional. But no, like if I was hurting the kids, yeah, step in. But we have a very mutual respect for each other. Of like, she's pulled me aside and you're being really hard on the kids today. Like you haven't snuggled your daughter. You haven't uplifted her. You haven't encouraged her today. You've just been really, really hard on her. And when you do that way, I have no rebuttal. You're right. You're 100% correct. You took all emotion out and you said factually, you've been really hard on your daughter today.
Right.
If she says that to me while I'm being hard on my daughter,
while the tensions are high,
I'm going to say, yeah, she deserves it. And that's something that we've been very stern on in our marriage is we don't fight in front of our friends. We don't make it awkward. We don't bring that business out in the world in the moment. But especially in front of our kids. Like, we obviously married each other for a reason. We know each other's character. We decided to have kids together for a reason. There's never a time where I think something she's doing can't be addressed later. There's nothing that she could do dangerous enough in the moment that I have to stop her and cause a scene and show our kids that we are not in alignment. And the same the other way around. But having that dynamic of pull each other aside, hey, I didn't like how you handled that. Let's talk about it. Has been very good. Like we have a pretty unified front in front of our kids, and obviously they're going to get older and it's going to be, hey dad, can I go to the movies? No. Okay. I'm going to go ask mom. Hey mom, can I then
you're really going to have to be a front.
That's why we're really building that now. And we talk about it all the time. Like she'll come ask me something and be like, well, what did mom say? Well, mom said that I couldn't do it. And I'm like, well, then that's the answer.
That's the answer.
Right. Yep. And so we have a really, really good dynamic, and we fail every day. I'm not saying we're perfect by any means, but there are certain standards that we've put in place, whether it was from scars of our parents, parenting, or friends, or just things that we've wanted to establish from whatever experiences we've had. The number one goal is that Erica and I are a team. Title, Something Beautiful Studios, parenting, ministry, we're a team. And just like in pro sports, teams aren't always perfect. Teams have fights. They have sometimes I'm a little Draymond Green. Like sometimes I can just be way too much.
Or like Tom Brady and Antonio Brown.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. But no, it's cool, man. I love being a family man. I love being a business owner. More than anything, I love being a husband to my wife. And just God has really, really blessed us in so many areas. Obviously it's God's doing something where someone like you is like, hey man, let's sit in front of a computer and talk for a few hours because people might find that interesting. It's I'm just blessed, stressed but blessed.
Yes.
That's gonna be my podcast name, Stressed but Blessed.
Honestly, that's pretty. As long as you look up to see if there's no copyright or if there's another one, it's pretty easy to do.
Right, absolutely.
It's another thing on your plate that you're just going to be like, I'm really stressed now.
Oh, yeah. I don't need anything else on my plate right now. Don't worry, I already have. This is the entrepreneurial brain. We already have a website, an Instagram, and a Facebook for a business that has not been created. We are always thinking like into the future.
Well, Well, if you ever want to have your podcast fixed, just let me know, and I got you.
Got it. Let's go. Let's go.
Because we are 2.5, almost 3 hours
Love it.
in, and that's like unedited, and so
Good luck.
not in. Well, I usually don't edit the podcast because it's more genuine.
Sure.
When I was doing audio, that was easier. When you do video, it's 10 times harder.
Yeah.
So, but adding the intro, which is like 40 seconds, adding the outro, which is like 30 seconds or so, it adds.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But so I know you want to get back to your wife and kids, and and love on them, and makes me envious of you. But
You'll get it, man.
I'll get it.
I know you will.
Yeah, but for the Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, I wanted to ask you about the charity real quick.
For sure.
Might as well put that in there to end off the episode for the charity,
Sure.
as well as where they can find you on your websites and
Yeah,
all that
absolutely.
stuff.
So, my wife and I, we've been a part of a charity called Love for a Child, and we've been a part of it. This will be my 14th camp. So I've been doing the camp since 2010. What it is we are a 501c3 nonprofit that takes 40 abused, abandoned, neglected foster kids. So kids with the most trauma, whether they're abuse victims, rape victims, just neglect victims in general, where they have been put in a room for years and just given food just to survive. I mean, we've heard every single story. We take 40 of them to a camp, and it's an overnight camp. We're with them for 24 hours a day, and we just shower them with the love of Jesus, make them feel like kids again, make them feel like royalty. I mean, bro, we have 12-year-olds that come to camp that have never had a birthday party, never had a cake with their name on it, never had a Christmas present with their name on it. So we do that. We have a birthday party every year, and then once every 4 or 5 years, we'll do a Christmas theme, and instead of a birthday party, we'll have Christmas morning. And it's something that's transformed our lives. I mean, me and my wife have been mentoring a foster girl since she was 10. She turns 21 this year in October.
That's awesome.
She has a key to my house. She's got a bedroom in our home. She doesn't live with us, but she has full access whenever she wants to. And sometimes she'll be with us for a few days at a time, but it's just our passion. It's the ministry that God put into our lives a long time ago. We're fortunate that our best friends are the founders, and they do it with us. So the 4 of us have been fighting the good fight for a long, long, long time. Started with 40 kids locally in Oakland County. And now this year will be the first year where we have 3 camps. So one based out of Oakland County, one based out of Holland, Michigan, one based out of Frankenmuth. And then next year officially launches Traverse City.
That's awesome.
So 2026, we will have 4 camps. Traverse City launching next year. You got to give it about a year to kind of build the team and get everything going. But 2026, we'll have 4 camps. They're 5-day long camps for kids 6 to 12. For more information, lovefораchild.org. And it's incredible. It is literally like our life song is we've done so much to position ourselves to be able to be a part of the charity on much deeper levels.
Yeah.
So yeah, check that out, lovefораchild.org. And it's the best. It's the best. It changes our lives sometimes more than we feel it even changes the foster kids' lives. Just seeing their stories and seeing the impact that Jesus has on them is just unreal. But yeah, and then my personal stuff, there's not too many Doug Buttons in the world. So if you search me, follow me there. JD Button 44 is my Instagram. I think it's just 2 4s. It's either 2 4s or 4 4s, but you'll find it. And then Title Boxing Club, Shelby Township, and SBS DJ Services. Best way to follow all the businesses are definitely through Instagram. Facebooks are active, of course. We put marketing in there and all that kind of stuff, but our Instagrams stay active. But no, man, it was a pleasure. This was fun.
And then what about the websites for the 2 businesses?
TitleBoxingClub.com, and then you'll find the location through that. It's a corporately ran website. And then SBSDJ.com.
Awesome. Yeah. Doug, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely, man.
Wonderful time having you on here.
Yeah.
I don't think we have talked this long in a very, very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was great. And then I just can't wait to kill you again at Title.
Can't wait. Cannot wait. Well, with that, we will catch you in another episode. Thanks for stopping by. Deuces.